Welcome, everyone. This is your friend, the DN What If, here with another exciting fanfiction. Today, we're diving into the story of What If Deku Became the King of Curses? If you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fanfiction content just like this. Now, let's get started with the fanfic. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 Ryaman Sukuna. Waking up and feeling tired wasn't what a young green-haired boy had in mind as a groan escaped from his mouth. "Oh, good morning." When the young man heard this, he looked up to see a man with silver-like hair. "Kakashi, is that you?" That was the first thing that he thought as his eyes wandered around the unknown place that was filled with paper that harbored the walls and the ground. "So, which one are you right now?" the white-haired man said towards the young man. This got the young man to try and piece together his memory. "Wait, aren't you?" he trailed off as the white-haired simply lets out a chuckle. "Satoru Goju, I'm in charge of the first years at Jujutsu Tech," the man said, who finally said his name towards the greenette. "Jujutsu, Fushiguro. Wait." He trailed off for a bit and suddenly sprang into action. "Wait, Sasaki Iguchi." But then he felt his arms chained. "What is this?" As he said this, he saw how the room was lit with more candles, giving him a view of the room to look like a crime scene of sorts. "I'm not sure you should be worrying about others, Izuku Midoriya." As Gojo said this, the now-named Izuku looked back at Goju feeling nervous. "It's been deduced that you'll be secretly executed." Not everyone was born equally. This all started one day in Quig, China. A luminescent baby was born with a unique power called a quirk. Then, around the world as time passed, humanity started to obtain quirks and people realized that their dreams of being heroes could become a reality with these powers. Now, 80% of the world was comprised of superhumans and people's dream of being heroes became a profession which was under the spotlight, while the other 20% contains people who doesn't have this gift. In this story, this leads to a young boy with black hair and green highlights along with green emerald eyes who was part of the 20%, and he was known as someone who couldn't do anything while being bullied in school, and yet he dealt with it and couldn't take it anymore, so he learned that if he wanted to make a difference he needed to do it now, and so he did. When he was diagnosed quirkless, he felt anger towards that, and that's when he punched the wall to make it crack. His mom saw this and questioned the doctor, but when the doctor said the young boy was in fact quirkless, this caused confusion to the young boy who goes by Izuku Midoriya. He was stronger than a normal person without a quirk and being able to go toe-to-toe against his main bully and former childhood friend. Izuku had enough and defended himself, but it caused him to be ignored by his peers and even his teachers. When the years went by, his mom started to feel sick and Izuku wanted to help her, but she only said she'll be okay, but she was wrong. Now we see Izuku at the age of 14, in his apartment and talking on the phone, and wanted to know how his mother was doing. The only answer he got from his mom was for him to stop worrying and go to school and enjoy his club, which made him sigh. After that he started walking towards his school, but he couldn't help but look up to see creatures flying in the sky and wondered what they were. Ever since he could remember he's seen these creatures, but nobody knows what he was talking about since they don't see what he sees. Let's go back few nights ago. An outdoor thermometer box? You're telling me someone's keeping a special grade cursed object in a place like this? A young man said while taking on the phone. Recovering it should be no problem then. The young man can only sigh in frustration, but nevertheless went to open the box that contained. There's nothing here. The box is empty. For real? That's hilarious. I'm gonna punch you. No going home until it's recovered, okay? With that, the person on the other end hang up, with the young could simply glare at the phone. I'm seriously gonna punch him for real this time. The young man said internally. We now return to the present, where we could see Izuku Midoriya simply enjoying as much as he can while ignoring the voices of his peers. Izuku decided to go to a place where he can be himself, a place called the Occult Research Club. Ever since he was in his first year of junior high, he was welcomed by the students who didn't care if he was quirkless and accepted him just who he was. Now, he's one of the oldest members of the club with two other members who were in their second year. One of them, who was named Iguchi, was a tall teenager with short black hair with some of it that stands up in the back, thick rectangle eyebrows and thick lips. And the only girl member in the club, Sasaki, who was a teenager with brown-colored hair that extend to below her ears and styled in a bob, blue eyes, and wears glasses. These two who admired Izuku because he was the one who kept the club alive for so long. With said boy having a serious look on his face while staring at his two underclassmen. "So are the two of you ready?" Izuku asked as both Sasaki and Iguchi nodded at Izuku, making him gulp. "All right, here we go. IIS, spirits. Spirits. Please reveal an animal that the school council president is weaker than." When they saw it moved, they looked at the letters. IIS. Kurioani PTT ha ha ha. The trio laughed as tears were shwan escaping from their eyes. "Ha ha, a sea angel can beat him. Ha, he's really a small fry," Izuku said, trying to get his breathing under control. But then the door for the club opened. A cult club. The voice of an angry individual was heard with Izuku smirking. "Oh? So you really are Mr. Worm, huh?" Izuku asked, causing the others to laugh even more, and this made the council president to be sad at Izuku, making him about to use his quirk but stopped just in time while letting out a breath. "I'll let your little remark slide, since we're going to be leaving this school soon. However, I'm here to say this, your club didn't submit its activities reports. We don't have space in this school for clubs like that. This is going to be the girls' track and field team's changing room today, so get out." Izuku just sighed at that, having to deal with this ever since he was a first year. "You shouldn't underestimate us, Mr. Worm," Izuku said, which got the council president mad, but before he can complain, Izuku jokingly threatens to curse the president and points out the paranormal activities surrounding the rugby field. Rugby players have been getting sick and they believe it's connected to an employee that went missing during the construction of the field. However, their senpai informs them that ticks were the cause of the sudden illnesses. The student council president was tired of the occult research club spreading rumors. Also, the club doesn't reach the 3-member minimum because Izuku was actually a part of the track and field team, thus surprising the trio. This made both of them to look at Izuku, and he simply said that he never changed clubs at all, and that was when the track and field coach interrupts and reveals that he rewrote Izuku's club application. This didn't sit well with Izuku at all, and reason for this was that the coach wants to make use of Izuku's extraordinary abilities for the track team, but Izuku downright refuses since this will be his final year at this school, and not even liking the coach since he was a prick, but the coach challenges him to a game that will put his membership on the line, and Izuku just sighed. "Let's just get this over with." Meanwhile, out on the track field, the same young man from a few nights ago investigates the rugby. He appears as just another student, but he can sense something out of the ordinary in the area. A giant tick-like creature was posted on top of the scoring poles, seemingly out of the young man's view. The boy wonders if this has anything to do with the cursed object said to be at this school. Out on the field, the coach challenges Izuku to a game of shot put and loses pathetically after Izuku hurled the heavy ball 30 meters with ease. Sasaki and Iguchi told Izuku that he doesn't need to feel loyal to the occult research club, but Izuku simply laughed at that and grabbed them into a group hug. "I've grown attached to this club ever since I started this school on my first day, helping my senpais as much as I can until it was my turn to help you, so don't think you two can do this without me, okay?" Izuku said this with smile on his face, making his kohais return the same gesture, feeling touched at what Izuku said. "Besides, you guys can't even go to haunted spots without me." After Izuku said that, this made them have a gloomy mood, making the young man to laugh a bit. The same young man with a spike-like hairstyle simply watches from afar before moving on, but ends up running into Izuku on the latter's way to the hospital. Izuku dashes away with inhuman speed, and the young man was surprised to find that he can sense even more curse energy than before. When Izuku visited his mother at Sujisawa Hospital, where he smiled at his mom. "You've grown so much, my little boy." All Izuku could was chuckle. "I'm not so little, Mom. How are you feeling?" Izuku asked as he held his mother's hand. "But the pain's still there. I don't know when I'll leave this earth, son, but if it's today or maybe even tomorrow." She trailed off while looking at Izuku and gave him a smile that was filled with nothing but love. "I want you to promise me to be strong enough to help others in need no matter what, okay?" Izuku just nodded while holding his mother's hand tightly, and all Inko could do with remaining strength she has was simply smile and going through her memories of all that happened, the good, the bad, and the most joyful of memories. "I'm scared to leave him, but I know he'll be an amazing person to all. You're special, Izuku. You're kind and sweet to others, and I know you'll do great things. I just, maybe one day you'll meet her." When Inko closed her eyes, she gave him one last smile. Izuku was silent, but nevertheless, he simply kissed his now deceased mother on her forehead while letting go of her hand and clenched his fist. Seeing his mom smiling only made it harder for him to try and hold back his tears. "Goodbye, Mom, I'll see you when my time comes to pass." He said this all with tears in his eyes, but he smiled, having the precious memories of his mom and him deep within his heart. After that, it was getting dark out and we see Izuku signing up some documents at the desk. That should be it for the documents," the nurse at the front desk said to Izuku, who simply thanked her, but she could see pain in the boy's eyes and she couldn't help but ask if he was all right. All Izuku could was smile while wiping away a few tears. "I'll be fine. Besides, I know for a fact my mom won't let me be mopey all day. It's to just laugh it out that I'm sure she would want that." The nurse looked at him until the two of them heard a voice. "Izuku Midoriya, correct?" Izuku looked to see a tall male with black spiky hair and giving Izuku a serious look. "I'm from Jujutsu Specialty High School, first year. The name's Megumi Fushiguro. Sorry, but there's no time." "That okay?" That was the only response that Izuku could give as Megumi asks about a potential cursed object. He explains that a talisman that was used to seal a curse has worn off, signaling potential danger. Izuku wondered what this was about, but he sighed and hands over the small box Megumi was asking for, but its contents were missing. Megumi then grabbed Izuku by the collar, asking where the contents inside the box were. "Just calm down, man, I'm sure my kohais have it." "Where do they live?" Megumi yelled with Izuku saying around over in Izuki district, but then paused as he remembered that the two of them would be peeling off the seal tonight at school, and once Izuku said that, he wondered if that was bad, and Megumi let go of the boy's collar. "Not just bad, they'll die." When Izuku heard that, his face became pale. No. Meanwhile, inside the occult research room, Sasaki and Iguchi trying to unravel what was in the seal. "Dimon, how hard is it to peel a piece of paper?" Sasaki questioned with irritation laced in her voice. "Was it really necessary to sneak into school for this?" Iguchi asked. "The atmosphere is important with stuff like this, you know. Besides, nothing's going to happen, so setting the creepy mood is important to make it more thrilling." Oh look, it came off. Once she peeked it off, she and also Iguchi lured to see a human finger? "Is it real?" As Sasaki asked that, Iguchi was almost afraid to say it. But what the two didn't know was that something was lurking above them. Back to Izuku and Megumi, the two of them were running to get to the school and making sure not be spotted by pros and the police. "Do seals come off easily?" Izuku asked. "No, someone with no cursed energy shouldn't be able to normally, but this time though the object is too strong. The seal is old as well, so it might as well be normal paper," Megumi answered. When the two of them got to the school, Izuku suddenly stopped as he felt a chill going up his spine. "What is this it curse? What's this pressure I'm feeling?" Megumi looked at him for a bit until he told him to stay back. This didn't sit well with Izuku. "Now hold on, I'm coming with you. I'm not just about to have my friends get killed while I'm out here outside. There aren't any heroes in this area and I'm not sure if you alone can handle it, so let me help." But Megumi just looked at him and gave him a glare. "Stay here. I saw the way your body shook, and you won't be able to handle what's inside, so stay here." That was all Megumi said as head inside, leaving Izuku there with a conflicted look on his face. Back inside the school, we see a creature that's so deformed, walking in the hallway. "What time is it now?" The hour hand points at 11. As the creature was walking around the halls talking about the hour, Sasaki was hiding from it, trembling in fear. What was that creature? I've never seen a person with that kind of quirk before. I'm scared," she thought as she suddenly jumped when she heard a voice, but as soon as she recognized that it was Iguchi, she was relieved and turned her attention towards him until she saw something on his head, and this made her scream. Back to Megumi, once he got inside the school, heard the screams of Sasaki. This caused him to place his hands together and form them in a shadow of a dog's head. With that came two dogs that formed out of his shadow. With Izuku, he was seen clenching his fist in frustration. "Why am I still doing here? I don't want to be called Deku again after getting a fresh start and moving away from those so-called heroes. Why I'm so afraid death? Yeah, I'm afraid to die. I can feel death somehow from the school. Mom, were you afraid to die? You probably were. I want you to promise me to be strong enough to help others in need no matter what, okay?" As Izuku remembered Shimother's words, he formed a serious look on his face. His resolve that was rattled was now unshaken. Megumi continued taking out more curses until he found a curse with 2 hostages in its midst. It trying to swallow the curse object and them all together. He tried to get there and stop the curse, but he was too late until a sliver of unpredictability occurred. Be someone who can be there for others. Mom, I'll make sure to be strong and save them in my own way, even if I go to hell. Izuku appeared and kicked the window with enough force. Midoriya, you had a meaningful death, Mom. Izuku then flips a bit and gave the curse a punch that caused the curse to loosen its hold onto the 2 unconscious teens, with Izuku grabbing them, getting enough room to get away from the curse. That's why I can't let anyone die like this. A gruesome death, Izuku thought while looking at another curse that was about to attack, but Fushiguro destroyed it while sighing. Normally I'd be said that, but good job. All Izuku could do was nod his head. Yes, sure to be. Why the way, what's that, eating the curse? Izuku said this while looking at the 2 dogs eating the curse. It's my Shikigami, you can see it? As Megumi asked that, Izuku was confused. Normally you can't see curses, not even the people with quirks can even see them, but exceptions being when facing death or in special places like this. Megumi said to Izuku, who understood, but then he looked down to see something dropped from Sasaki's hand. This is... yeah. The special grade courses object, Ryaman Sukuna, part of it. As Megumi said the cursed object's name, Izuku, for some reason, felt some sort of connection when he heard that name. Forget it, it's dangerous, so hand it over. When Izuku was about to give it to him, Fushiguro suddenly pushed Izuku out of the way, making him surprised at the action until he heard Fushiguro telling him to run. The reason was because the roof was destroyed and something attacked him. Fushiguro! Izuku yelled out. The curses from earlier crashes through the roof and attacks Megumi. As he was injured, his Shikigami disappear as a result. Megumi was then tossed outside, helpless and unable to defend himself. Damn it, my incantation's time ran out. Sheet, I can't think straight. Before the curse can launch its attack, Izuku came and attacks the curse with his bare hands to help in spite of Megumi's orders to run away. A curse can only be exercised by another curse, and therefore Izuku's physical attacks were useless. The curse then grabbed Izuku and trying to devour him. If that's the case, he said while using his leg's strength, giving him time to avoid getting into the cursed spirit's mouth. You said the curse needs this finger to get stronger, then I'll just need more curse energy. Whatever happens, please let this work. Please. With that, Izuku devours the cursed finger that his assailant was targeting. You idiot, no. But his words were ignored, and with that came something. Megumi believes Izuku will die instantly, but there was a 1 in a million chance that the cursed object will incarnate. And it did. Izuku, with a burst of strength, escaped from the cursed spirit's hold and jumped onto it while having enough room to distance himself from the creature. The cursed spirit, however, with a mind of a beast, came charging at the boy, whose head was dipped low until he raised his arms as if he was slicing the air, and then the cursed was nothing but sliced bits. When Izuku obliterated the curse, Megumi considered this 1 in a million chance as the worst-case scenario and realizes that Ryaman Sukuna has been reincarnated. Once Izuku opened his eyes, they were ruby red, along that came 2 extra pair of eyes and a new set of tattoos forming around his upper body, along with his hair being upright. A sudden surge of laughter escaped the boy's mouth, but it wasn't a joyous one. It was sinister and one that was filled with nothing but fear laced within. I knew it. The light is best appreciated in the flesh. He said this with a new voice, one that was deep and menacing. Fushiguro can only look and wasn't able to move. A cursed spirit's flesh is no fun. Where are the people? The women, oh ho ho ho, the women. That he what a wonderful sight in age it has become, that being stuck without a reincarnation necess, but now it he marvelous, it'll be a massacre, ha. But then his hand suddenly was placed underneath his chin, which surprised the reincarnated cursed spirit. Hey, is it okay to get my body back, please? Ha, how are you able to move? It is my body, you know. It feels weird having someone taking control. This kid, you're interesting brat. As that was said, Izuku was the one who was in control. Like I said, that was weird. Don't move. When Izuku heard that, he turned around and saw Megumi, in a stance with a serious look on his face. You're no longer human, under the regulations of jujitsu. Izuku Midoriya has a curse that I will exorcise you. Creator's thoughts. The Disgraced One, The Disgraced One. Hope you enjoy this chapter as much as I do. Comment and tell you what you all think. Like it if you enjoy it. Hopefully I'll make more chapters. Until then, stay safe. Comment. One comment. Chapter 2. Chapter 2, Execution. You're cursed, so I will exorcise you. Megumi said with Izuku being confused from the words that came out of Megumi's mouth. Wait, hold up, it's not a problem, and more importantly, you and I are both beat up, so we need to get to a hospital. When Izuku said that the marks on his body were fading away but Megumi wasn't able to see it. Is it the cursed object or Midoriya talking right now? I can't tell. What should I do? Megumi cursed internally at Tei's situation before him. With Izuku drawing a blank towards the situation for real and really wanted to get his friends to a hospital but before he can do something. So what's the situation? A voice said, which got Megumi to look to his right and saw someone he knows all too well. What? Gojo-sensei. What are you doing here? Megumi asked with a surprised tone. Yo, that was all Gojo said, a very tall, lean and muscular man in his late 20s. He has snow-white hair along with a black blndfld that were covering his eyes, which props up his hair and gives it a spikier appearance. The clothing he's wearing was a dark blue zip-up jacket with a high collar, which was also fairly broad. He wears matching sling-fit black briefs and black dress boots. I wasn't gonna come at first, but man, you're really messed up, huh? Gojo questioned while taking out his phone. I should show all the second years say cheese, as he said this while snapping a few pictures at Megumi, who was irritated by how nonchalant his teacher was. But the higher-ups got involved after hearing that a special grade cursed object went missing. I agreed to come as long as I have time to see the sights. So did you find it? But Megumi became silent until the one who decided to speak had an awkward look on his face. Sorry about this, but I ate it. As soon as those words came out of Izuku's mouth, Gojo had a surprised look on his face. For real? Gojo asked with both teens confirming that it's true. This got Gojo to observe Izuku more closely until he chuckled. You're not kidding, they're combined. That's hilarious, but I need to know, how does your body feel? All Izuku could say he felt Oklahoma. That was when Gojo decided to ask the teen to switch to Sukuna. Izuku suddenly had a perplexed-like look on his face. You want me to do what? As the boy asked that, Gojo simply chuckled. What? Can't be that hard to do it, right? It's just that I'm not so sure that's a good idea since this Sukuna is likely something that'll cause problems, Izuku said, trying not to escalate the situation even more than it already was. Don't worry about it, and besides, if you're able to surpass him then it'll be easier, so come back after 10 seconds, think you can do that? Gojo said as he was busy stretching with Izuku, who could oddly let out a sigh. This better not bite me in the butt, Izuku thought as his head dipped down. Oh right, hey Megumi, hold on to this will ya? Gojo said as he tossed a bag towards Megumi, who caught and wondered what was inside. That would be kikufukamachi. It's a Sendai City specialty. It's super good, but I prefer the edamame and cream flavor more. Are you telling me this guy went to buy souvenirs even though people are dying over here? Megumi thought with an irritated look on his face. It's not a souvenir though, that's for me to eat on the bullet train home. As Gojo said that, a silhouette could be seen high above with a viscous look on their face as they went on the attack. A large cloud of smoke formed until it disappeared to reveal that it was Sukuna, the one who initiated the attack, with his eyes staring at Megumi as Sukuna was seen on his hands and knees while Gojo was seen sitting on his back. Well now, I hope I won't be disappointed. As Gojo said this, Sukuna was irked as he twisted his body and went to tear him apart, but Gojo simply avoided the attack. Sukuna kept continuing his assault, but Gojo simply dodged them with ease with a smile on his face, until he got close to Sukuna with his back facing against the other. Well, since my adorable student is, I guess I can let loose for a little bit, right? And with that, Gojo took the initiative and sent multiple punches towards Sukuna, who felt the impact and was pushed away from the powerful blow. Sukuna, who hit his back with a steel frame that stopped him going any further, couldn't help but admit that jujitsu sorcerers have always been troublesome in every era. Sukuna then breaks up the ground and sends a shockwave of rubble at Gojo and Megumi. He believes that his attack landed, but once the dust settles, he realizes Gojo levitates the harmful rubble to stop from being hit. With a smile that never faltered, Gojo simply count until it reached the 10-second mark. And then Sukuna felt a surge of being pulled back, which made him surprise. Again? Just who'd this, brat? As Izuku took back control, he asked if everything was okay, but then his eyes wandered towards the area that looked even more damaged. I must say, I'm shocked you really can control it, Gojo said as he walked towards the boy. I mean, sure, I guess. I can still hear him though, Izuku said, with Gojo saying it's a miracle that's the only side effect from consuming the cursed object, and with that, Gojo simply tapped the boy's forehead, making him lose consciousness as Gojo simply hoisted the boy onto his shoulders. What did you do? Megumi asked his teacher, who simply said this. He's knocked out, that's what I did. If he wakes up and isn't possessed, he might have potential as a vessel. Now I have a question for ya, Megumi, what do you think I should do with him? As Gojo asked this, Megumi looked down and thought about it until he made his decision. Even if he is potentially a vessel, he must be executed under the regulations of jujitsu, but I don't want to let him die, Megumi said towards Gojo, who simply hummed. Really? Are you sure it's not a personal opinion? Yes, a personal opinion, please do something about it. As Megumi demanded this, Gojo simply laughed while giving Megumi a thumbs up. Alright, if it's my precious student's request, leave it to me. So with that, let me reiterate, you're gonna be executed. As Izuku heard this, he had an expression that screamed total conflicting. That story made zero sense, Izuku finally said, with Gojo simply shrugging his shoulders. Hey, I tried. Besides, I'm tired. The execution is still an execution, but we're suspending the sentencing. That piqued Izuku's mind as he raised his eyebrow. Why exactly is it on hold for my execution? Well, now let me explain from the top. Saying this while looking for something in his pockets, and once he found it, he showed it in front of Izuku. This is the same as the cursed object you ate. There's 20 in all and we're in possession of 6. As Izuku heard this, he didn't know why, but his mouth suddenly moved faster than his mind was thinking. That he has 4 arms, doesn't he? That's right, I'm surprised you knew about, Gojo said with a surprised tone in his voice, with Izuku simply shrugging his shoulders. It's because I've been getting images of him, even though they're a bit blurry, I can still see a distinctive vision, Izuku said, with Gojo simply humming at the boy's answer. Well, now watch this. He then tossed the finger, making it hit the wall, which was destroyed, forming spider-like cracks, with Izuku's sweat drop from the forehead at that much damage. I'm not even surprised, and oh, don't think about it. It's not a quirk, it's something different and yet similar, Izuku thought as he saw Gojo walking over the finger that was embedded into the wall. As you can see, you can't destroy it, it's that powerful of a curse with each passing day. It gets even stronger. We actually don't have anyone that can seal it properly right now, and that's where you come in, he said while pointing at Izuku. What exactly does this have to do with me? Well, if you die, then the curse inside you, Sukuna, will die as well, and besides, our elders are cowards and making a fuss about killing you right now, but that would be a waste, right? As Izuku heard this, he wanted the white-haired older man to elaborate, which got the latter to chuckle. There's no guarantee that a vessel capable of controlling Sukuna will ever come around again, so this was my proposal. If we're gonna kill him, why not kill him after he takes in the rest of Sukuna? The higher-ups agreed, so now you are faced with 2 options. Die now or find the remaining parts of Sukuna and die after taking it all into your body. Once Izuku heard this, that he had 2 words to say, the F-. Within the inner layers of a hospital, we could see Setsuko Sasaki with a sad look on her face. Going through her memory of that night caused her to shudder. The sudden sound of the door being knocked caused her to turn her attention towards the one person who saved her and fellow school member. Midoriya-senpai, she uttered as Izuku walked towards her. Hey, how's Iguchi doing? Izuku asked as Sasaki looked down. The doctors say he's fine, he's not in a life-threatening condition, but he's still unconscious. It's all my fault, it's because I invited him to school that night. That I don't think if you'd believe, but we were attacked by some monster. It wasn't villain and I was captured. She stopped when she felt a hand on top of her head. I believe you, Sasaki, and know this, you're not at fault. You didn't know something like this would happen to you, and I know Iguchi would say the same thing if he ever saw the sad look in your eyes. Senpai. She muttered as tears poured out of her eyes. This got the boy to hug gently. Sasaki, like I said, you're not at fault. I was the one who picked it up in the first place, so you don't need to worry. There's someone coming tomorrow to help Iguchi, and this might be the last time we'll see each other. So good luck and see you later, Izuku said as he walked away, but before he can reach far. Wait. That was all he heard as he turned his head and felt the soft pair of lips that touched his. Izuku's eyes widened in surprise as the kiss was quick, but he could feel how soft Sasaki's lips were as the girl simply blushed as she took a step back with a smile on her face. Consider this your graduation gift. I'll never forget you, and try not forget about me and Iguchi, okay? Izuku Midoriya. As Izuku heard this, he chuckled while giving the girl one last hug. That'll be impossible, you two are my precious kohais. With that, he left, leaving Sasuke there with a sad-like smile on her face. Right now we can see both Izuku and Gojo seated on a bench with Izuku holding onto a urn. Who passed away? My mother. As Gojo heard this, he apologized for interrupting Izuku's time, but Izuku simply said that it was okay. With a sigh that escaped his lips, he turned his attention towards Gojo. Are there a lot of casualties with curses like these? Well, this is a pretty unusual circumstance, but if you're talking about potential damage, then yes. It's considered lucky if you're able to die normally after running into a curse. Finding a body even-eyed torn apart still might be considered alright. If you were to start investigating the remains of Sukuna, you'd probably witness some gruesome scenes, and I can't really guarantee that you won't be a victim one day, so anyway, pick your hell. Izuku then looked at his mother's urn. That if all of Sukuna is eliminated, will there be fewer people killed by curses? Once Izuku asked that, Gojo was in thought, thinking of what kind of answer he can give to the young boy. There needs to be another option, there has to be one, and I just hope I figure it out soon, Izuku thought while waging Gojo's answer. Of course. Once Izuku that, even though it was vague, he just lets out a sigh while placing his mother's urn on the bench, standing up to stretch and faced the white-haired older male. Do you still have that finger? As he asked that question, Gojo simply showed the finger to Izuku, who in return, grabbed it and shuddered. Well, my life is fed. With that, he placed the finger in his mouth and then swallowed it. That's number 2, 1/10 of the way there, huh? What's gonna happen? As Gojo thought of this, Izuku's eyes, that were completely closed, suddenly opened wide as within she very mind, he could feel the curse clawing his way for control, but Izuku, who was placing his hands to his throat, shook and then laughed, not knowing that Gojo was prepared to end him if the situation got out of hand. But that wasn't the case, since Izuku suddenly took a deep breath, his body relaxed as he cleared his throat. Man, that was something, still gross though. Gojo simply placed his hand BSCK into his pocket while a smile formed. This kid, it's confirmed, it's not just his body's resistance, he's able to control Sukuna without a problem. Only one every 1,000 years or so does such a person with a phenomenal ability like this appear. Izuku, who saw how Gojo was deep in thought, asked him if he was alright, but Gojo simply waved his hands. It's nothing for you to worry about, I take it you're prepared for what's to come? Not really, but I'm going to eat the rest of Sukuna's fingers. Until then, we'll see what happens, Izuku said, which got Gojo to laugh, but the former didn't know what was funny. Good stuff, you're really growing on me, kid. Well, looks like it's shaping up to be a fun hell. Get your belongings together by the end of the day. Where exactly are we going? But before Gojo could say anything, somebody beat him to it. Tokyo. This surprised Izuku until he looked behind him and had a look of relief on his face. Fushiguro. Wow, I'm so relieved you're alright. I hope you're not hurting anywhere. This surprised the spiky-haired boy, but nevertheless told Izuku to not worry. Honestly, it's just a few bruises that'll heal. Anyways, you're gonna enroll in the same school for jujitsu where I go, Tokyo Prefectural Jujitsu High School. As Izuku heard this, he nodded his head. Well then, I'm in your care, saying this Gil bowing his head with Fushiguro following suit. Oh, by the way, there's 3 students in the first-year class now, including you, Gojo said, which got Izuku to raise his eyebrow. Really? Only 3? Izuku asked and wanted Gojo to further explain. Midoriya, I don't mean to pry, but do you have those so-called quirks that those normal people have? Once Fushiguro asked that, Izuku awkwardly chuckled. Unfortunately no, do you have some sort of interest towards them? Izuku asked, which kind of piqued his mind for a bit. Not sure, just seeing them wearing those colorful get-ups does give me the chills, but I do want to know how their quirks work. As he said that, Izuku simply smiled. I think you and I are going to be good friends. I'll tell you everything I know about the Quirk Society with the knowledge I know. With that the two talked with Gojo taking pictures of the two. Creator's thoughts. The Disgraced One, The Disgraced One. Wow, this took a while but hope you enjoy. Comment. Zero comment. Chapter 3. Chapter 3, for myself. Tokyo Prefectural Jujutsu Specialty High School, one of only 2 jujutsu education facilities in the country, with the facade being a private religious school, but even after graduation, many jujutsu sorcerers use the facility as a home base. It's a cornerstone that not only serves as a place of education but provides meditation for missions and general support for the jujutsu community. As of right now, both Izuku and Gojo could seen walking towards school, with the former being amazed. Whoa, is this really Tokyo? Well, this isn't actually out of the ordinary for a Tokyo suburb. By the way, where's Fushiguro? He's fast asleep after receiving jujutsu treatment, but first things first, Izuku, you've got an interview with the principal. This got Izuku to halt his walking for a bit. The principal? Now that I think about it, if you mess up, you might get rejected for admission, so you better stay frosty, okay? Gojo said with tease-like tone, which got Izuku to fake the man's words seriously as he lost a bit of color. The thought about him being rejected will cause his execution to resume with a snap of a finger. Man, what a disappointment, and here I thought you were the leader. The hierarchy not based purely on the strength is boring, if you ask me. A deep voice was heard, and this got the attention of Izuku and Gojo, as the voice belonged to the very curse that dwelled within Izuku, Sukuna himself, forming a mouth that was just below Izuku's left eye. This caused Izuku to place his hand where Sukuna's mouth was while giving Gojo an apologetic look. Sorry about this, sensei, he comes out whenever he wants to for some reason. Instead of feeling disgusted, Gojo simply was rather intrigued. What an interesting body you have, color me surprised. I owe you a debt, after all. When I make this kid's body mine, you'll be the first one I kill. Sukuna spoke with disdain laced in his voice. Sukuna, give it a break, man, Izuku said, which irked the curse. Are you telling me to shut my mouth? Ha, what an utter surprise to hear this from a feeble meat sack. You either have ball of steel or you're really stupid to talk to me like that. Well, you're stuck with me, so deal with it, Izuku retort, which got Gojo to chuckle. Oh wow, to be a target of the great Sukuna is quite an honor, and you must have a steel will to have a conversation with him. As Izuku heard this, he turned his attention towards Gojo. Sukuna is really that famous? Izuku asked with Gojo, who simply nodded his head. Ryaman Sukuna, with 4 arms and 2 faces, is a demon of lore, but the truth is, he was a human that actually existed. Although that was over 8,000 years ago, before the age of quirks, but in the golden age of jujutsu, the jujutsu sorcerers had sharpened their skills and finally defeated him. With the title Ryaman Sukuna, he would traverse the ages after his death as a cursed object. So we the jujutsu sorcerers wouldn't even be able to destroy his remains preserved in its own grave. So without a doubt he is the king of curses. This made Izuku think, still seeing Sukuna's mouth on his hand. So is he stronger than you, Gojo-sensei? Well, if Sukuna had all his 20 fingers, then it might be a little tough, saying this while walking ahead of Izuku. But would you lose? This got Gojo to pause his walking and turn his head towards Izuku with his knowing smile. Nah, I'd win. That's utter bullshit if he thinks he can best me in a fight at my full power. Izuku could only raise his eyebrow a bit as he heard Sukuna's voice within his mind. Why are you still talking to me? I thought I was just a feeble meat sack, Izuku said towards Sukuna, who simply clicked his tongue. And you still aren't, but the only reason I would waste my time with you is because I find you intriguing. So I'll talk with you as much as I want when I'm not bored. Once Izuku heard this, he simply let out a sigh as he followed Gojo as the two of them went inside a building where the principal was located. Satoru, you're late. The voice of an older man shouted that was filled with irritation. This got Izuku's attention when he saw a grown man who was sitting on the floor. You're late by 8 minutes. Your habit of being late, but not late enough to make it worth getting mad about. I thought I told you to fix it, the grown man said towards Gojo, who simply shrugged his shoulders. A tall man with short black hair that was shaved at the side of his head, a mustache-goatee combination, as he wore dark sunglasses along with his attire, which consists of a zipped-up long-sleeved black jacket, black briefs, and black shoes. But the thing that Izuku was more focused on was the thing that was in the man's hands. Is this guy making stuffed animals? So he's the principal? Izuku thought as his mind was trying to decipher what was in front of him. If it's not enough to get mad about, then cut me some slack. I figured you'd be making dolls anyway. So 8 minutes is no big deal, right, Masamichi Yaga? Gojo said this with a smirk as the now-named Masamichi continued with his doll making, but he was still paying attention. So, that's the kid? Masamichi asked as his eyes landed towards Izuku. This got Izuku to bow his head to pay his respect. It's nice to meet you, sir. My name is Izuku Midoriya. Why are you here? This made Izuku confused until he told him because he came here for the interview, but then Yaga meant why did he come here to Jujutsu specialty? To learn Jujutsu. But Yaga simply hooked his head. I mean beyond that, what do you hope to find once you've studied curses and learned how to exorcise them? As Izuku heard this, because I'm going to collect the remaining fingers of Sukuna, so it's dangerous to just leave them as it is. Why? As Yaga gave Izuku that question, the boy himself wondered what exactly this principal wanted him to say. Incidents, accidents, sickness. People you don't even know are dying every day. That's just how it is. There's nothing to reverse it, not even with these pro-heroes. It won't change anything, Yaga said with Gojo letting out a sigh. There he goes again. Gojo mumbled. So you're telling me that if it's curse-related it's inexcusable all of a sudden? Yaga asked Izuku, who gave the principal a serious look. Because that's the last request I was left with by someone, so I'm not concerned with the details. I just want to help people as best as I can, Izuku firmly said with Yaga raising his eyebrow. A last request? So you're saying you'll fight against curses based on someone else's will? You failed. Just then Izuku saw that the doll that was beside the principal started to move. Those weren't dolls. Cursed corpses, they're dolls infused with my curse. Also her name is Kathy, by the way, Yaga stated as the doll that went by Kathy starts rushing towards Izuku and went to punch him, but Izuku blocked the attack with his bag, but his eyes widened in shock. Geez, its hit was heavy as heck. People are more honest when they're in a pinch. Until I get a worthy answer, she'll keep on attacking, Yaga said. Izuku, who took steady breaths, rushed towards the doll. This request wasn't just someone else, Izuku stated as he punches the doll with his strength, making it get pushed back. It was from my mother's dying wish. Izuku yelled out, but then his eyes landed towards the doll that bounced and pivoted towards him. His reaction time wasn't fast enough to avoid getting hit in the face, which caused him to hit the wall hard. A family member is still someone else, Yaga stated as Izuku looked over to the doll, which was busy dancing as if it was taunting the boy. This doll doesn't feel fear nor pain, but what am I supposed to do for me to not get hit by it? Izuku thought. A jujitsu sorcerer is constantly facing death, and not just their own death. Sometimes you must ignite those murdered by a curse to rend the flesh from it. It's an unpleasant job. You have to be motivated with a fair share of crazy, and you want to do it because someone else asked you to? Don't make me laugh. It would have been better if you'd told me you were doing it just to postpone your execution. Yaga yelled out as Izuku narrowed his eyes. You don't know a demon thing. Really? Then would it be your mother's fault when you get killed by a curse? Once Yaga said that, Izuku saw red, his mind became foggy and his eyes was completely tunnel vision as his target was Masamichi, but as he took one step and dug his feet to the ground, his body suddenly became restricted. Oh, what's this? I'm able to stop your foolishness so long as you lose focus? Color me surprise, brat. Why are you stopping me? I'm pretty sure you won't even care. True, but why would wait even longer for another vessel when you're a decent meat sack? Izuku was confused about this king of curses, but because of his actions, Izuku calmed down from a bit as his eyes landed towards Yaga. You really said some messed up things for a principal. I almost lost it, Izuku said with Yaga simply folded his arms. Education includes helping students make realizations. This got Izuku to listen but also to avoid a punch from the doll. It's difficult to say what your heart feels when you're about to die, but I can say this for sure: there's no death for a jujitsu sorcerer without regret. So at this rate, you might even curse your beloved mother. So I'll ask you one last time, why are you here? Yaga yells out. As the doll attempts to hit him, everything went in slow motion for Izuku as he was in his thoughts. That I was always better than most in sports and in fights, that despite my lack of a quirk and the way the others judged me, but as the years went by for me, there was never a thought for me to say that this is something only I can do. Izuku then dodges the doll's punch and tackles it while holding it firmly with his strength, consuming Sukuna. That I know that's something only I can do. That even if I could run away from my execution, that if I run away from the mission, that I'd just be doing nothing but wonder if I made the right choice of letting people die because of Sukuna, thinking that it doesn't involve me. There's no way I can convince myself that it's not my fault. Izuku then Yaga a serious look on his face which made Gojo smile. I can say what I'll be thinking when I die, but I know this, that I'm not gonna regret the way I live. That's all it took for Yaga to have a small smile on his face that disappeared instantly. Let's hop so, Saru, show this brat to his dorm room and explain the security and rules to him. Once Izuku heard this, his eyes widened. Wait, does that mean? Yaga nodded. You pass. Welcome to Jujutsu Specialty High. This made Izuku smile, and just as he was about to thank him, he had to block a punch from the doll. Oops, sorry. I forgot to stop the incantation. Yaga apologized, but Izuku said his was fine, a smile dawning on his face. You're a strange one, Izuku Midoriya, Sukuna said to Izuku, who simply chuckled. Well, if I'm strange, then that's just who I am. After Izuku's interview with the principal, we now see both him and Gojo inside one of the dorm rooms. You can use this space as you please, Gojo said, which got Izuku to bow his head in respect. Thank you for this, sensei. But Gojo simply waved his hand while chuckling. It's fine. By the way, the second and third years are out right now, so you'll meet them soon, although there's not many of them anyway. Izuku set down his bag and looking through to find one of his hero analysis books. Meanwhile, Gojo was just smiling. Izuku, don't need to fight. Fushiguro and I can go and retrieve Sukuna's fingers. Why don't you just wait here? As Gojo asked that, Izuya suddenly stopped writing, turned his attention towards the white-haired man and told him he'd just refuse. I've already made my decision, but it would be a bit funny to see Fushiguro being a bit beat up bringing the fingers while I relax, although I would feel a bit sorry for him, Izuku said, trying not to laugh. That's true. Okay. To be honest, there's no way you ain't fighting. This got Izuku to question him on what he meant by that. The reason is because, if the fingers themselves were that easy to find, that we would have found them already. That there are some with a large overwhelming presence. Others that keep quiet. And some that have already been consumed by a cursed monster. So in regards to searching for something, this one's gonna be a pain, but now we have you. He said this while pointing at Izuku, which made him finally realized, it's because now that I have a bit of Sukuna within me that I might be able to find the other fingers. Yep, that's correct, and since you're a vessel as well as a radar, we're gonna need you on the field. This got Izuku to place his hand underneath his chin. I don't think he'll be considerate towards this. 'Cause I don't, Sukuna said with deadpan tone, with Izuku being the only one hearing this. I think we'll be able to come to a win-win agreement. While the two of them exit the door, the next door opens, causing Gojo to see how it was. Your next door? There's a bunch of empty rooms, aren't there? Izuku formed a smile as he saw the person. Fushiguro, I'm glad you're feeling better, Izuku said with Fushiguro simply rubbing the back of his neck. Yeah, thanks, he said with Gojo decided to grab the two boys' attention. I thought it'd be more lively and fun this way, Gojo said with a smile that Megumi found irritating. Classes and missions are more than enough. It doesn't have to involve being close dorm mates, Megumi said as Gojo simply placed his hand on the boy's shoulder. Oh come now Megumi, why don't you think positively? I'm sure if you let that kind of vibe inside, you'll be more lively, Gojo said with Megumi swatting his teacher's hand. Yeah no thanks, that sounds like a pain to deal with, Megumi said with Gojo simply shrugging his shoulders while Izuku simply awkwardly chuckled. Wow. Those two really have quite the familiarity with each other, Izuku thought. But anyway, it's fine, but more importantly, we're going out tomorrow, so that way we can get the third first-year student. The train bound for Tokyo is now arriving. For your safety, please stand behind the yellow line. It took 4 hours just to get as far as Morioka. Time to finally say goodbye to the sticks. Guess I'll be in Tokyo soon. What would I do if I get scouted by a talent agent? A feminine voice wondered. Creator's thoughts. The Disgraced One, The Disgraced One. Finally! Another chapter has been completed. Hopefully you all enjoy this chapter. Until next time. Comment. One comment. Chapter 4. Chapter 4, Steel Beam Girl. Right now, we cut to a shopping district in Shibuya, where citizens were enjoying the many shops in the district. Whereas both Izuku and Megumi were seen waiting on their third first-year member. Isn't it too little for 3 people to be the only ones in first year? Izuku asked, enjoying the taste of a popsicle. If that were the case, then that's because not many people can see curses. That's how much of a minority shamans are. Megumi answers Izuku's question with the latter simply making a humming sound while finishing his popsicle. Alright then, but then if I'm the third student, how come? Izuku's words lingered, which got Megumi to explain. Apparently her transfer was decided a while ago. It's just this kind of school, so maybe she had some circumstances to be. By the way, I'm still wondering how these quirks work. You think you can? This got Izuku to nod his head while grabbing his notebook. Yeah, no problem. Now from what I've gathered in the years, I would say these quirks are just a low-down level of curse energy, or it's just there and the people with quirks don't have much of a connection, meaning that for some reason. He said this while explaining to Fushiguro, who was listening and feeling intrigued. The sounds of footsteps got the 2 boys to stop their conversation and looked over to see their teacher. Thanks for waiting, and wow. The uniform made it in time, I see. Gojo said as Izuku was wearing his official school uniform. It was the Jujutsu high school uniform, but it was different from Fushiguro's. With him having a red hoodie, along with that came the shoes that were sneakers with the soles having metal built in, along with the color being red and white. Yeah, and I can tell it's a perfect fit, but it's a bit different with me having a hoodie though. That's because the uniforms can be customized upon request. Once Izuku heard this, he raised his eyebrows a bit. Wait a minute, I never put in a request, Izuku said with Gojo simply ruffling the boy's hair. That's 'cause I requested a custom one on my own for you, Gojo said towards Izuku, who was fixing his hair while thanking his teacher. But Izuku felt something was a bit off when he looked at his shoes, but then he shook his head for a bit and reminded himself he'll say it for some other time. Fushiguro then got close to Izuku, telling him to be careful around Gojo since he has this side of him that does these sort of things. This got Izuku to nod his slightly while Gojo was a bit hurt from what Megumi said. But there's something that's more important here. Why are we meeting up in Harajuku? Megumi asked with Gojo simply shrugging his shoulders. Well, she said she wanted to meet up here, Gojo said, which got Izuku. I wonder what our third student member is gonna be like? As soon as Izuku thought of that, someone else decided to say his piece. This girl better have glorious melons. Izuku became extremely silent when he heard this. Why exactly did you have to say that? You'll know when you see them, then you'll agree with me. That was a bit unsettling for the youngin, but all he could was let out a sigh. A few moments later, near the busy streets of Harajuku, we see a middle-aged, short stature of a man asking a very youthful woman if she has the moment of her time to speak with him, while showing his name card, asking the young lady if she's interested in modeling, but she declined his offer. However, he didn't want to let her go just yet and was about to follow her. Fortunately, he was suddenly stopped by someone who grabbed his shoulder. Hey you! This person said with tone of seriousness, which got the man being nervous as he turned his attention to the one who said it and saw it was a young woman. What about me? She asked with the man being even more nervous than ever. It's about modeling. So I'm asking you, how about me? She asked as the man tried to back away. No, I'm in a bit of a rush, so. The man tried to leave, but the girl didn't allow that, with 3 individuals seeing the scene before their eyes. So that's her? I kind of feel bad for the guy. Sorry not sorry. Izuku said this while wearing large red sunglasses with the name Rook in capital letters. That I'm a bit surprised you even wanted to wear that? Megumi questioned with Izuku simply shrugging his shoulder. What can I say? The fanboy inside me hasn't left yet, so I'll kinda try out some other things besides heroes, Izuku simply answered. Fair enough. Gojo decided to call out to the girl, which got her attention. Right now, at a 400 yen locker area, we see Izuku, Megumi and Gojo, waiting on the young woman. Alright then, let's get this over with. I'm Kujisaki Nobara. I'm the flower in a group of happy boys, the now named Nobara said, which got Izuku to chuckle slightly, but nevertheless, lets out a smile. My name is Midoriya Izuku, nice to meet you. I'm Fushiguro Megumi. This made Kujisaki to stare at both of them. He'd definitely do things like lighting a full drenched in oil on fire just with his name. I can't stand boys that think they're all that, while the one with the green hair, for some reason I have the need to protect him, like he's some innocent little bunny. When she was finished with her thoughts, she sighed. I'm not very fortunate with my environment, huh? She asked, but more specifically to herself. This made Izuku to tilt his head in confusion. She sighed after looking at our faces. Oh, what do we have here? What's this I see? That yes, this can work just fine. I'd give her an A+ for now. Izuku then raised his eyebrows at the words that came from the King of Curses. Is there a reason why you just graded her? You'll find out when you get the chance. The way he said it put Izuku on high alert. Just what is up with this guy? Izuku thought. Are you going somewhere after this? Megumi asked Gojo, who simply folded his arms. I've finally gathered my 3 students, and on that note that we're going sightseeing in Tokyo. This made Kujisaki excited. Meanwhile, both Fushiguro and Izuku sweat drop. Well then, I'll announce where we'll be going. And that's Roppongi. This got Kujisaki and also Izuku excited. How come you're getting excited? Megumi asked. Because I never went to Roppongi, with it being amazing in the day and even more thrilling in the night, Izuku said with a warm aura surrounding that. It was difficult for Megumi to keep his eyes open. But unfortunately that wasn't the case, when the group saw that it was just an abandoned building. There are curses here, aren't there? Megumi studied a blank-like tone. You liar. Don't toy with county folks like that. Nobara said with anger, which got Gojo to sheepishly scratch the back of his head. Sorry about that, but there's a huge cemetery, which means there's a curse outbreak there and in the abandoned building too. This got Izuku thinking with serious look on his face. So from what I can think of, the people who think the grave sites are scary, it produces the curse similar to what happened back at the school? Yeah, that's right, Megumi said, and this was the TN. Nobara decided to intervene. Hey, hold on a second, this guy doesn't much about this? As she asked that, both Megumi and Gojo looked over the green-haired boy, who simply scratched the back of his head in embarrassment, with Fushiguro explaining Izuku's circumstance. It didn't take a few seconds later for Nobara to look at Izuku with disgust. He did what? When she shouted, she took a step back when she heard that Izuku swallowed the special grade cursed object. That's so nasty. No way. How unsanitary. All Izuku could do was let out a sigh and look towards Gojo. Okay, besides me having my new classmate giving me look of disgust, what exactly is the plan here, Gojo-sensei? I want to know how far you guys can go, so this is like a practical test of sorts. So Nobara, Izuku, both of you go and exorcise the curses inside the building. Once Izuku heard this, he had a worried look. But you can only exorcise a curse with another sensei. You know I can't use sorcery yet, so he trailed off, and then Gojo decided to ease the boy's worried heart. You're right on that, but just remember, you're a half curse with its magic flowing through your body, but since you don't have control over it, you'll need help, which is why I'll let you use this. When Izuku looked to see it was a small dagger, he was fascinated when he felt an aura coming off from it. This is called Slaughter Demon. It's a weapon with cursed energy confined inside. This should be effective on the curses. But Izuku looked down at his feet, which got Gojo's attention, and he could only smile. I see you found out something strange with the shoes as well. That they're imbued with curse energy as well, aren't they? Izuku asked. Yep, I figured you're someone who uses his legs more than your fist, so the metal is also encased with cursed energy, so you can give those curses a surprise attack? Izuku nodded his head and was about to head inside with Nobara, but he was stopped by Gojo, who told him to suppress Sukuna, which made Izuku confused. If you don't, any nearby curses will instantly be killed, and also people nearby will also get dragged into it. Izuku nods his head while passing notebook to Fushiguro, who caught it. I'll do what I can, and Fushiguro read on page 168. You'll see something interesting. Hey, hurry up, Nobara called out to Izuku with an impatient tone. Okay, geez, Izuku said as he followed after her inside of the building. I think I'll go in too, Megumi said, but was stopped from taking a single step form where he was, courtesy of Gojo him, who shook his head. Don't push yourself, after all, you're still recovering, Gojo said, with Megumi not liking the idea but nevertheless stopped his advance. Even so, someone should be keeping an eye on Izuku, right? Megumi asked, with Gojo looking towards the building. That's true, but the one we're actually testing this time is Nobara. By the way, what was it he wanted you to see in that notebook of his? Gojo asked. This made Fushiguro to wonder until he went to the page Izuku instructed him to go to, and what he saw got him intrigued, and as for Gojo, he can only stare and laugh. Well, I'll be damned, this kid is something else. What they saw was theories that was based off of cursed energy, along with their limitations, advantages, information that was broadly branched off of the subject, and other minor details. The way it was written got both Megumi and Gojo to rub their eyes from the maintenance of words Izuku had written. Right now inside of the building, we see Nobara letting out a sigh. So bothersome, why do we have to interact with curses first thing in Tokyo? She grumbled. Well, we have to exorcise some curses, so it couldn't be helped, Izuku said. If that's the case, let's save some time and split up. I'll start from the top and go floor to floor while you start from the bottom. So let's get this over with quick and grab some sushi. Sure, but be careful, okay? Who knows how dangerous these curses are, Izuku said towards Nobara, with the girl looking at the boy with a slight blush forming, that quickly disappeared as she ran down the stairs towards Izuku and kicks him hard enough to make him hit the ground. The action surprised the boy. Oh, why? Izuku questioned. I don't want to hear it from someone who was a normie until recently. Okay, I'm sorry. That only got Nobara even more frustrated as she left the scene. This is why you're unpopular, she said, leaving Izuku alone. Does she even know if I'm popular with girls to begin with? Wow, I didn't know this girl could be a beach. Sukuna. None of that. What? I'm just saying she acts like a beach that gives me a reason to train her. Okay, that's unsettling. Just as Izuku finished that thought, a curse appears above to sneak up to him and attempted to stab him, but Izuku cuts it arm, using Slaughter Demon, and flips out of the way. Here is your receipt, the curse said as it rushes towards Izuku, who dodges the attack and slices the cursed spirit underneath it and then rushes back and begins to slice through its legs. With great leap towards the air, Izuku stabs the cursed spirit in the head until it stopped moving. Okay then, that's that. Outside the building, both Gojo and Megumi were still reading through Izuku's notebook. About Izuku. Man, he's a crazy one. He has no hesitation to the curses that are grotesque, whether they take the form of the living. If those curses try to kill him, he goes to get rid of them without an ounce of remorse towards them. Unlike you, he hasn't been in contact with curses for a long time either, and he's just a boy who's been living a normal high school life, so he probably would have gone to a hero school and try to go pro. You've seen plenty of jujitsu sorcerers. Even those with talent give up in frustration because they couldn't conquer their fear and disgust that comes with destroying curses, haven't you, Megumi? So today, I want to check if she has that craziness. Gojo said. Right now, we see Nobara in one of the rooms and looking around, until her eyes landed towards one specific area. Hey, the curse over there. The mannequin in the middle, are you planning on hiding inside? Saying this while bringing out 2 large nails and a hammer. If you're not coming, then I'll exorcise you as you are. Back outside, Megumi said that Nobara has experience, so she must have that craziness, but Gojo said that curses were born from people's minds, so they increase proportionally in number and size to the population. Nobara, who readies her nails and strikes them using her hammer and getting a clean headshot on the mannequin with it starting to fall over, but suddenly it remained standing. Do you think Nobara understands that curses in Tokyo are on a different level than those in the countryside? Gojo asked. With that, the eyes of the curse begin to appear as it readies itself in an attacking stance. Careful with the nails, it's best if you take them out. With that, she snapped her fingers with the curse staggering. Because my curse energy flows in them. And then, the head of the mannequin that had the curse exploded. Good, it's settled, she thought, but then she heard the sound of boxes moving, making her turn to see a young child with tears in his eyes. What, a child? He must have snuck in for some reason and encountered the curse. When she approached the child telling him to come out and saying it's all right, but the young one refused, which got Nobara to sigh and turn around. I guess it's true that kids don't warm up to appealing women. I better call Midoriya. But child stops her, making her turn around only to see that the child was grabbed by a hairy-looking cursed spirit. This leads to Nobara going into a fighting stance, but the fact that she can't attack it because the cursed spirit holds up his hand and threatens to kill the child. Dim en it's taking him hostage. This curse has intelligence. Outside the building. When I say level, I don't just mean the amount of cursed energy they have, it's their cunning. Monsters that have gained wisdom will often force cruel choices upon you, with the weight of human lives in the balance, Gojo stated. Back inside, Nobara could only glare at the curse, cursing inside her mind knowing that this curse wasn't that strong, grade 4 maybe even a lower grade 3 at best. But its awareness is the reason why it chooses to take a hostage. I need to stay calm. If I die, the child dies too, but if the child dies, I won't die. It's speaking logically, it's better if I survive at least. She then drops her hammer and nails and sighed in defeat. I'm unarmed, so let the boy go. Nobara said, but the curse only refused and displayed a smug grin on its ugly face. This caused Nobara to curse at herself for being an idiot. I wish that I could have seen Saori-chan one last time. The curse continued to laugh until the wall behind him breaks, with a fist breaking through until the rest of the wall starts to break even more, and the curse's arms that held the child was sliced off by a blade, and the cursed spirit was kicked and pushed back with the person who saved the child next to Nobara. The child looks towards the one who saved him, and him along with Nobara saw that it was Izuku with a serious look on his face until he grew a concerned look towards the child. Are you okay? Izuku asked the young boy, who nodded his head, which made Izuku relieved. But just as Izuku took his eyes off of the curse, that led it to phase through the wall, it's getting away. I don't think so. Midoriya, give me that arm. This led to Izuku being confused until he smirked. When the curse was seen jumping through the building, both Fushiguro and Gojo saw the cursed spirit. I'll exorcise it, Megumi said as he was about to use his technique, but Gojo stopped him. Now hold on, things are about to get interesting. Nobara then puts a straw doll on top of the cursed spirit's arm. This got the child to be confused at the doll while Izuku was curious. I'll say this once, I've seen better. You're just a bunch of sunshine, aren't you? I'm worse than sunshine, you brat. I'm literally worse. With their conversation coming to a close, Izuku observed Nobara, whose was preparing her hammer and nail. Straw doll technique. And then slams the nail onto the straw doll while finishing her technique. Resonace. The sound of the curse's heartbeat pounded and then having multiple spikes coming out of it, as it begins to fade away. The two onlookers saw the scene with one of Babung impressed. Nice, she's crazy alright, Gojo said with a smile while Megumi simply sighed while finishing reading Izuku's notebook. Inside the building, Nobara breathed heavily while saying they've won, but then she lost her balance, which made her be caught by Izuku. I gotta say, you're something else, but didn't I tell you to be careful? Izuku questioned the girl. Nobara didn't say anything but only having a blush on her face, but she then slapped Izuku across the face, making him let go of her. Oh. Why? Izuku exclaimed, holding the side of his face. Well, you deserve it. And also, what have you been eating that lets you punch through a wall with your bare hands? Some sort of quirk. Navara said while pointing at the wall that Izuku entered in. Izuku, however, simply rubbed his face to ease the pain. No, I'm 100% quirkless, and plus it wasn't reinforced concrete. Izuku stated as if it wasn't a big deal. Even if it was, that'd still be impossible for most people. She yelled out. Do you mean the ones without quirks? Honestly, you've been asking me plenty of questions. How about I say this? Is there a reason why you came to Jujutsu High? Just want to know. Izuku said. Nobara turned her back towards him until she gave him a look that made him feel something. Because I'm from the countryside, and I wanted to live in Tokyo. As soon as he heard that, he suddenly felt the feeling disappeared, making him have a blank look towards this girl. This was the only way I could move to the big city without having to worry about money. Izuya was completely silent with a neutral look forming onto his face. And besides, so far as it goes, I'm kind of grateful to you too. saying this while she reaches to the child's head while having a smile on her face. There wouldn't have been a bright future if I had died or I had been the only one to survive. Thanks. Izuku could only stare, which made Nobara to look his way, causing him to turn his head. Oh, it seems you're really interested towards that girl, huh? That maybe I am, Izuku thought with a slight smile on his face. At the end of the day, the child waves goodbye to the three teens and Gojo, with the latter asking if they can grab some food, with Nobara and Izuku agreeing while Fushiguro was seen scrolling through his phone, with Nobara telling Izuku to fetch her stuff, causing him to raise his eyebrows at her. Say what now? Well, consider this the request of our appealing girl, and since we won that battle because of my cursed energy, you got a problem with that? Izuku in fact got the problem with the way she was ordering him, and so walked towards her with his face close to hers. The proximity between almost felt non-existent. I ain't no one still, my boy, even if you're appealing. Once he said that, he walked away from the group with Nobara a bit flushed around her face, with Fushiguro and Gojo watching Izuku walking away. Well, now, we better follow him, Gojo said. And with that, him along with his two students walked and tried to reach the green-haired young man. Log date, July XXXX, location West Muzudafu Juvenile Detention Center. In the sky above the exercise yard, unnamed apparition of potential special grade. Its cursed womb was witnessed by several non-jujitsu sorcerers. Due to the emergency of the nature, 3 jujitsu high first years were dispatched to the scene. N1 died. Creator's thoughts. The Disgraced One, The Disgraced One. Finally, another chapter done. Hope you all enjoy. Comment. 0 comment. Chapter 5. Chapter 5, Curse Womb. The area was gloomy as the rain began to pour down from the dark clouds from above. Our window verified the cursed womb 3 hours ago. Once 90% were successfully evacuated, they made the call to seal off the center. Citizens within a 500-meter radius have been evacuated as well. An older man said this with a serious look on his face. Mr. Ijichi, question. What's a window here? Izuku asked the now-named Ijichi. A windows is a member of Jujutsu High who can see curses. They aren't sorcerers though, Ijichi explained to Izuku, who nodded his head. Alright, let's continue. Detainee block at present. 5 detainees remain there with the cursed womb. If the cursed womb is the type that metamorphosis, we predict it will become a special grade cursed spirit, Ijichi said. Special grade, both Fushiguro and Nobara thought. So normally, a Jujutsu sorcerer will be assigned to a curse of similar grade? Izuku asked. That's right, and Gojo-sensei would be dialed in today for this, Fushiguro said while having a slight headache, which Izuku saw. I feel like there's a but in this, Izuku said, with Fushiguro sighing while saying Gojo was on a business trip, and this made Izuku sweat drop from that. To be honest, he's probably not someone who should be wasting time at a place like Jujutsu High. Fushiguro said. Unfortunately, we're constantly short-handed in this business. You'll often have to undertake missions beyond your power. The current case, however, is an abnormal one, and most urgent. Do not fight under any circumstances. If you encounter a special grade, your options are either to run or die. Ijichi stated, with Izuku and Nobara were both shocked by these words. I'm sorry, but just listen to your fears. Do not forget that your mission here is strictly the verification and rescue of survivors, Ijichi said. Suddenly, a random woman from the crowd begins to cause a fuss. Excuse me, where's Tadashi? The woman asked. Stop. Stay back. A man stated while blocking the woman path. Tadashi. Is my son Tadashi okay? She asked with tears in her eyes. Izuku looks at the woman as his eyes begin to water. Please calm down. Hey, stop it. Let go of me, the woman said as swatted away the hands of the man. Please stay back. It's dangerous. Just let me through. Ijichi saw the commotion and lets out a sigh. She's a guardian who was here to visit. Please step away. There's a possibility that someone has spread poisonous gas throughout the center. We cannot share any more details at this time. No, she said with a tremble as she begins to break down and begin to cry. But why is this happening? As Izuku saw this, he begins to get serious. Fushiguro, Kujisaki, that we're gonna save them. Of course we are. Nobara simply said. And with that, the trio then began to make their way inside the detention center, but they were stopped by Ajichi. Be careful that I'll put up my veil. Emerge from darkness, blacker than darkness, purify that which is impure. As the chant was said, a black sludge begins to form in the sky and expand, which made Izuku being amazed. Whoa, it looks like it's nighttime. It's a veiled, there's a residential area nearby, so this barrier conceals us from the outside world. Fushiguro said towards Izuku, who nods his head. Ignorant, Nobara said, which was directed towards Izuku, who stared towards the girl. Hey, don't give me that look, perv. Which made Izuku sigh while looking away, missing the slight pink that dawned Nobara's face. Fushiguro then performs a hand sign, Gyokuken. As soon as he said that, a white dog emerges from Fushiguro's shadow and howls. He'll let us know if the curse gets close. Oh, I see. Izuku said as he kneeled down towards the white dog and started petting. Good boy, good boy. We're counting on you, okay? Izuku said with a smile on his face. The door to the detention block then opens. All right, let's go, Megumi said as the trio began to through the detention block. But suddenly, Megumi told the others to stop, and as that was said along with the sudden halt, they observed the detention block to be distorted with several buildings merged together. What is this? Nobara questioned. Izuku narrowed his eyes at the situation. That isn't this a two-story dorm? Izuku asked, with Nobara saying that they should calm down while saying that it's a maisonette. No, it's not. It's the deployment of an innate domain due to cursed energy. It's my first time seeing one this big. Fushiguro thought, but then he suddenly realized something was wrong. Where's the door? He yelled out, which made the trio to see that the door was gone. Well, that's just dandy, Izuku thought. My, so how? Are you and your minions gonna get out of here? Brat, Sukuna said within Izuku's mind, but all he got was silence from the boy, which only made him laugh. Hows? We just came in through here, didn't we? Nobara yelled out while grabbing Izuku by the arm. Huh, what are yo dash? Before Izuku could finish what he was gonna say, he got pulled by the girl. What do we do? What do we do about this? Nobara saying this while doing a little dance with Izuku, simply being the one getting pulled in, but he didn't fight it since he can tell the girl in front of him will hit him with her hammer. It will be fine. The dog remembers the scent of the entrance. As Fushiguro said that, Nobara stopped her little dance and let go of Izuku's arms and started petting the dog, which it enjoyed since its tail was wagging happily. Good boy. Have some jerky. Have all the jerky you want, she said while Izuku was trying not laugh, with Fushiguro being irritated by the behavior. You are way too calm, Fushiguro said while Izuku placed a hand on his shoulder. You really are dependable, Fushiguro. Thanks to you, we'll be able to rescue the people and save ourselves, too. Izuku said this while smiling, which caused Fushiguro to be silent for a second. Let's keep moving, he said this while having a small smile on his face. A few minutes went by and they make their way through the detention block, walking through the vast corridors until they stumble on 3 corpses. Izuku rushes towards the corpses and was in shock at the state of them. Atrocious, Nobara said, trying not to feel sick at the sight. That's 3 people, right? Megumi asked. Izuku grabs the shirt of the body to look at the name tag, bearing the name Okazaki Tadashi, remembering the words of the lady outside. Is my son Tadashi okay? Izuku's hair covered his eyes. Let's take this body back. This got Nobara confused at the words that came from Izuku. It's that woman's son. But Nobara tried to speak, but Izuku interrupted her. His face isn't too badly mangled. His mother won't accept it if we tell her he's dead, but we don't have a body. The back of his hoodie was suddenly dragged by Fushiguro. We have to find and verify 2 more. Leave that body behind. Don't joke around. We turned around, and the way we got in here was gone. We won't be able to come back for it later. Izuku yelled out. I didn't say come back for it. I said leave it behind. I have no intention of risking my own life to save people I had no intention of saving in the first place. Megumi yelled back, which got his collar grabbed by the Izuku. No intention of saving him? What do you mean? This is a juvenile detention center. Jujutsu sorcerers are granted access to all information about the scene beforehand. This Okazaki Tadashi hit a little girl on her way home from school while driving without a license. It was his second offense of driving without a license, yet he still chose to do it despite the heroes warning him otherwise. I know you're struck on saving lots of people and guiding them to proper deaths. That was your goal before all of this. To be a hero that saves everyone, but what are you going to do when someone you saved kills someone else in the future? Megumi asked with him feeling Izuku's hold on his collar tighten. If that's true, then why did you bother saving me? Izuku yelled, but he didn't hear an answer from Megumi. Hey, the two of you cut it out. Christ, what are you two doing? You're both idiots. Think about the time and place if you dash. Before she could finish, she was sunk into the ground with Izuku being a bit too slow to reach out for her. Kujisaki! He yells out. No way! Demon Dog should have sensed the curse. But as he looked towards the wall, he saw the demon dog's head sticking out of the wall. Izuku, we're running. We'll search for Kujisaki la dash, but his words were put to a stop. Both didn't say a thing, as on the left side of Izuku and the right side of Fushiguro, a curse was seen standing beside them. Snake-like in bottom appearance. There's no mistake in it, it's a special grade Demenit. I can't move, Megumi thought. Move. Move. Izuku thought, and in that moment, Izuku remembers the words of his mother, hearing her kind, loving tone. Help others. With a quick motion, Izuku grabs Slaughter Demon and attempts to slash the special grade, but, in a split second, his left hand was sliced off. Izuku! Izuku simply stares at his severed hand, but for some reason he couldn't feel any pain. Meanwhile, we see Nobara walking through a corridor unknowing of where she was. Damn it, where am I? It's so dark I can't see a thing. She suddenly sensed something and gets in a fighting stance, the curse's presence. She stares at the curse, bearing several faces of morphed babies and eyeball. How can there be so many? She exclaimed as she got ready. We cut back to Izuku and Fushiguro, where Izuku grabs the belt from the blade holster. I can't escape after it's gotten this close. Saying this as he wraps the belt around his severed hand. Hey Sukuna. How about a little help here? But as soon as he said that, he suddenly felt a jolt of pain within his mind and Sukuna appeared on his face. Not happening. This made Izuku's eyes widen, but then heard Sukuna continue. Look brat, even if I'm part of you and you die here, you gotta remember that there are 18 other fragments of my soul that still though, I'm having trouble trying to compile your body to find. Then, I'll help you if you want to SW. Go ahead and SW, but once you do, I'll kill that brat before the cursed spirit can. Then I'll go for that woman. She's a lively one, so I'll have fun with her. I'm not going to let you do that. Izuku said, which got Sukuna to laugh. I bet, but if you're too focused on me, your friends are going to die. The cursed spirit in front of them charges and fires an attack, causing an explosion in between them. This made Fushiguro's ears to ring at the sight of the attack. It's not jujitsu, he just unleashed pure cursed energy. Fushiguro thought while trying to cancel out the ringing from his ears. Meanwhile, the special grade can only laugh at their despair. Through the ringing, Izuku can be heard saying his name. Fushiguro, 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 take Kujisaki and get out of here. I'll keep this one busy until you two are out. As soon as you're out, give me some kind of signal. Once you do, I'll SWH with Sukuna. You know you can't do that. Not with only one arm against a special grade. You're right, but look closer. That it's having fun. That it's obviously toying with us. I can at least buy us some time. But Fushiguro could only refuse what Izuku was saying until Izuku shouted his name and turned towards him, with a calm smile on his face. Please, Izuku said towards Fushiguro, who reluctantly nodded his head, even though he hated the thought of leaving his classmates fighting alone against the monster in the front of them. With that, Fushiguro jumps in the hole caused by the explosion, descending further down in the detention block. New! The shadow emerges from his back, forming itself into a bird-like creature, and Fushiguro begins to run through the corridor. Don't die on me, Izuku, Kujisaki. He puts his hands together and performs a hand sign, Gyokuken. A black dog then emerges from his shadow, running alongside him. Find Kujisaki. We cut back to Nobara staring back at the curse, holding one nail in her left hand. This is my last one. To geez, I should have brought a lot more with me. She simply said. Izuku stands in front of the cursed spirit as it rips the cloth from its bottom half revealing its legs. Izuku laughs a bit, trying to say it's easier to move around in your underwear? But he started to think, what do I do though? I have no clue how to use cursed energy, but for now, that's fine because I just have to buy TI dash. But his thoughts were interrupted as the cursed spirit fires another cursed energy attack at Izuku, launching him into a wall causing him to cough up a bit. What was that? A cursed energy barrier? The cursed spirit jumps in the air and fires a point-blank attack at Izuku, causing him to fly through the wall. The cursed spirit towers over him from a distance as it prepares to fire another attack. Izuku, upon seeing this, stands back up and prepares to block the attack. The result was his fingers disintegrating from the energy of the attack. Even though he perseveres, his mind was going through a lot. Oh, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. Why am I? If only I hadn't picked up that finger back then. If I hadn't eaten it. If only. If only. Stop. Don't think. I want to run. I want to run. I want to run. I don't want to die. If I died here, if I actually died, would that be a proper death? Don't think. The force of the attack pushes him, and in that moment, all he hears are the words of his mother. Help others. Have I gotten so weak? Meanwhile, we cut back to Nobara, who was seemingly hanging upside down, staring at the face of the curse. I know your face now. I swear I'll curse you. She yelled out as the curse lifts her in the air and prepares to eat her with her having a face of disgust. Until she was grabbed away from the curse and the curse holding her before was bitten by a large snake. Then a cursed frog was seen that grabbed Nobara and places her in its mouth. We're escaping, Kujisaki. Fushiguro says. You know I hate frogs. Well, that's too dim and bad. Back with Izuku, the special grade makes a triumphant landing standing in front of the blooded and beaten Izuku who simply felt broken. I was so full of myself, I thought I was strong, I thought I was at least strong enough to choose when I died, but I guess I was wrong. Saying this as he stares at his hand, the fingers having disintegrated off. I'm weak. He yells out as he stands up from his crouched position, I'm far too weak, I don't want to die, no. No way. He continued with a desperate tone in his voice. He begins to have flashes appear in his mind. I want to prove that I can make a difference. I want to continue living so that I can hang out with those who I call my friends. But I'm going to die. Tears begin to flow down his face. A proper death? You're right. Why do I have to be so naive? He thought as he begins to remember the words of Principal Yaga, Jujutsu sorcerers never die without regret. Still, I want to be able to say that my death was a proper one to owe all the hate, fear, regret, let it all out, and put it in your fist. His fist begins to emanate a red glow as he lets out a roar. AMD rushes towards the special grade and readies an attack. But as the attack makes contact and the ground begins to break apart, his fist was caught by the special grade, who can only laugh at the feeble attempt from Izuku's attack. Damn it. He cursed out as he stares at the curse, until he hears a howl making his eyes widen. That howled at its Fushiguro's signal. Alright, Sukuna, let's SW. Finally, Izuku begins to display a sinister smile as tattoos begin to appear on his face. This made the special grade upon noticing steps back while Sukuna simply sighed. What a thoroughly annoying brat, but I gotta give him points for his display earlier, although he's obviously screwing with me. Saying this as he walks towards the curse and places a hand on his shoulder. Hold on a moment. I'm thinking right now that I wonder on what I can do to make that brat regret this. If I went after him, the brat would just SWH back right beforehand, so the thing that would cause him the most trouble that is probably this, that I'll put things back the way they were. While thinking, he walks away from the special grade. Hey, let's go kill some kids. The curse jumps back as Sukuna's fingers begin to regenerate. He motions his finger for the curse to follow him. The special grade, concerned for its own safety, begins to charge an attack. This annoyed Sukuna as he turns back to see the special grade fire his attack, which made him regenerate the other hand completely and block the attack with ease. Ah, shit. I healed this one too. The special grade was shocked at its attack being blocked. You don't like walks? Well, Cursed spirits are usually supposed to stay where they're born. Fine, fine. In that case, Sukuna seemingly disappears from the special grade site. You die here. Saying this as he slams the curse onto the ground. Oh? What's the matter? You're not finished already, are you? He said mockingly, which made the special grade to give him a face of anger. That's it. Come on, try harder. Sukuna then slams his foot onto the special grade, causing the floor beneath them to shatter. While they were falling, the special grade grabs onto Sukuna's leg. Even a cursed spirit would miss their arm, right? As he said this while waving the special grade's arm, that it made it cough up blood as the special grade gets submerged into the water and the rubble. We cut back outside with Fushiguro. Please expand the evacuation area to 10 kilometers. What about you? Ijichi asked. I'm waiting here for Izuku to return. Megumi answered. I see, after I take Kujisaki to the hospital, I'll return as quickly as possible. But Megumi simply shook his head at what Ijichi said. No, there wouldn't be much point in you staying here. If you want to do something, please ask them to send over a sorcerer grade 1 or higher. Not that I imagine any are around, but we don't want the heroes catching wind of this. I'll do what I can. Later, Ijichi said as he drives off, leaving Megumi there. If the worst case happens, it's my responsibility to end him, Megumi thought with tightened fist. We cut back to Sukuna. Hey, did you know? We're both classified as special grade, apparently, both you and me. Man. The cursed spirit hangs above, all limbs cut off and ingrained into the wall, but the special grade escapes from his captivity and regenerates his limbs. Good job, special grade. Keep trying, keep trying. The special grade jumps down and does a landing, smirking at Sukuna. You look happy. Want me to praise you? But healing with cursed energy isn't that hard for cursed spirits, unlike humans. Neither you nor this brat really understand what curses truly are, so this is a good opportunity, so I'll show you what real jujitsu is. Watch carefully, Izuku. Domain expansion. The sound of a water droplet was heard, and then the sound of flowing water was seen circling around with Sukuna being revealed and donning into different clothing while something was behind him. Malevolent Shrine. As the special grade, upon witnessing the sight of the domain, gets sliced up into several pieces with Sukuna, who simply walks towards the special grade. I was planning to cut you into 3 slices, but you're really weak. Oh yeah, and there's this. He puts his fingers in the hole in the special grade's chest and pulls out the finger inside it. I'll be taking this. Saying this as he walks away while the special grade was set on fire. It's over, kid. But he got no response. This is. If you're going to SW, just do it already. And yet he got no response, which made him curious. Hey, what's the matter with you, Izuku? And yet no response, which caused him to sigh. Of all the days to not talk to me, that I guess I should do something while I have a bit of control. Saying this with a sinister smile on his face. Creator's thoughts. The Disgraced One, The Disgraced One. Wow, twice in a row. Hope you all enjoy. Comment. 0 comment. Chapter 6. Chapter 6, Survive. Just outside of the detention center, the sky remains dark and gloomy as the rain continues to pour down while Fushiguro was seen standing at the front of the gate until he senses something. The innate domain's closed off. That means the special grade is dead. Now we just need Izuku to return safely. But then Fushiguro begins to sense something far more sinister and worse that it made his eyes widen. Sorry, but he's not coming back. As Fushiguro heard this, he turned around to be faced with Izuku, with his hair up and giving the boy a smirk, with Fushiguro having a shocked look as he heard that information. Come on now, don't be frightened, I'm actually in a great mood right now, so let's chat for a bit, he says as walks in front of Fushiguro. This is what he gets for trying to use me without any kind of pact. Feels like he's having some trouble suching back, still though it's only a matter of time. As he said this, he rips the uniform off his top half. Alright then, I know about what I can do right now. Fushiguro displays a look of shock and worry as Sukuna impales himself with his hand, causing Fushiguro to gasp. What are you? Sukuna's chest begins to bleed as he rips the heart from his body, still beating in his hand. What else? I'm taking this brat as a hostage. As Sukuna said that, Fushiguro yelled out on what he means by that, with Sukuna simply laughing. Well, I can live without this, but that ain't true for the brat. While he chucks the heart to the side as it stops beating, suching out with me means he dies, and also. Displaying his finger and saying for good measure, he places the finger in his mouth and swallows it. Sukuna's finger, that special grade cursed spirit in there must have consumed it. Sukuna let out a yawn. With that, I'm free as a bird. You can be frightened now, I'll kill you. His nails sharpen at the boost in power, for no particular reason. Fushiguro looks down at the ground. Our positions are reversed now, but you just don't get it. He's thinking about the wide smile Izuku gives. Izuku's coming back. Even if that means he'll die, that's just who he is. This made Sukuna to sigh while placing a hand on his face. You give him too much credit. This guy's just a little tougher and denser than other humans. As he wipes the blood from his mouth, he continued talking. Just a moment ago, he was scared out of his mind, on the verge of death, and prating on about his regrets and all that nonsense. I know for a fact he doesn't have the guts to kill himself. Fushiguro stares down at Sukuna. His arm is restored, healing that he can use reverse curse techniques. Sukuna's incarnated. Even if he can live without a heart, it should still be damaging to him, so I'll make him heal his heart before Izuku returns, and I just have to make him believe he can't beat me without a heart in his body. Can I do that? Fushiguro begins to shake. When I couldn't even move with that special grade in front of me, it's not about whether I can. I have to do it. He forms a hand sign and summons Nu and begins to rush towards Sukuna, who smirked. I'm finally outside, after all, so let's use the open space. Fushiguro starts with a kick towards Sukuna. Interesting. You use Shikigami, but you'll still come at me yourself? This made the King of Curses to wonder as Fushiguro continues to attack Sukuna, but they were either blocked or missed entirely. The more Fushiguro fought, the more excited Sukuna felt. More. He then catches Fushiguro's fist and bringing him closer. More. Put more curse behind it. As Sukuna strikes Fushiguro across the face. When you strike me. As Fushiguro lands back on his feet, his shadow begins to morph. Orochi. A white snake emerges from his shadow and bites Sukuna by the waist. Gang up on him. While the white snake hangs Sukuna in the air, his bird Shikigami electrifies his wings and begins to attack Sukuna, but Sukuna merely smiles at the attack and explodes the white snake, disintegrating it. This made Fushiguro to be shocked at this, and his jacket was suddenly grabbed from behind. Hey, what did I just say? He begins to throw Fushiguro. Let's use the open space. He throws Fushiguro in the air, sending him flying as he then kicks Fushiguro into several buildings until the bird Shikigami catches him and flies away. It's not even a matter of jujitsu. His power and his agility are on a different scale. Nice technique there. As Sukuna sledgehammer punches Fushiguro and the bird Shikigami into a building with a dome of glass as he flies from the glass roof into the ground, causing a cloud of smoke to cover the area, Sukuna then lands in front of him. What do? I used up one of my Shikigami to escape that innate domain. Demon Dog White and Orochi are both destroyed, and Nu's at his limit too. He pets the head of the bird Shikigami. I should release him before he gets destroyed. The bird Shikigami disappears as Sukuna had a thoughtful look on his face. I get it now. So your Shikigami are created from shadows. It makes no difference if he knows that now. Oh, what now? Sukuna hummed while thinking. It's not the generic technique that uses charms, it's adaptable too. I just don't get it, though. Why did you run back then? What a waste of talent. Whatever, either way, that won't be enough to fix this. Sukuna says as he points towards his bloody chest. He already figured it out, huh? Megumi thought. You're risking your life over stupid sheet. Sukuna said with Megumi standing up with a bit of difficulty. As Sukuna saw this, he simply chuckled. This brat isn't even worth that mudash. Deku? A voice said which got the attention of the King of Curses. Wait, what? Megumi thought as he turns to his left to see a blonde-haired boy with red eyes, with a boy with red hair and a girl with pink skin along with pink hair and horns on her head that was holding on to an older man who was bloodied and having tears in her eyes. What? What the hell? Where did we end up landing? We go back 4 hours ago at UA High, a prestigious high school that held many generations of individuals who made their goal to be known as pro-heroes, but right now we see an individual who has the same color hair, similar to our main cinnamon roll boy, but this person was a she and her name was Mizuki Yagi, the daughter of Toshinori Yagi, also known as the symbol of peace, All Might, but right now all she could do was let out a sigh. The main reason was because of what happened a few months ago. Ever since she found out that she has a half-brother, she became a bit distant from her father, who was the only parent in her life since she doesn't have any memories of her mother, but she couldn't help but be a bit sad because since she told Katsuki about it, he became even more of an a-hole if Mizuki ever said anything remotely close that involved Izuka, but as a sister, she really just hoped to see him that wherever he was. I shouldn't be so upset, but why did you have to hide this sort of secret from me, Dad? Mizuki thought as she while going through her notebook. Man, did you guys see the media wave this morning? It was really stressing me out. Who would have thought that they were willing to break down the school gate to get in here? The one who said this was a young man with short gold hair, parted to the right with a black lightning-shaped streak on the left of his side fringe, which was angled to partially obscure his left eye. He has slanted, somewhat triangular golden eyes and notably small eyebrows with a slim build as he wore the male school uniform. Well, it does make sense. After all, if the #1 hero announced he became a school teacher, they would want to know the details behind it. One who said this was a tall teenage girl with a mature physique. She has long black hair, generally tied into a spiky ponytail with a large strand hanging on the right side of her face. Her eyes were big yet sharp, dark in color, and paired with short eyebrows set in a determined expression. Though it is kind of annoying, I mean, they nearly mauled me just because they wanted to know some stuff about him. The one who said this was a petite, fair-skinned girl with a slender build. She has triangular onyx eyes with notably long lower eyelashes and small eyebrows. Her dark purple hair was chin-length, with an asymmetrical fringe that has 2 reflections shaped like sound waves on either side. Her most prominent features are the flexible, plug-like earphone jacks hanging from each of her earlobes. They act like extra limbs that she's able to control at will and change their length if so desired. Well, I do think it was a surprise. After all, I don't usually get people wanting an interview with me. It was kind of exciting. A feminine voice said with a bubbly tone. Do I need to point out that you're invisible? A young man said, who appears to have olive skin and short blonde hair with a mutant class quirk that gives him an extra appendage, a tail. The tail also has bushy, brown hair on its end. The door to their classroom bursts open and entered a scruffy man with long black hair and a black-like track-like suit. This was Class 1A homeroom teacher, Shodaizawa. All right, class, settle down. The class remains in total silence at the words of their teacher. Silence. Good. Now then, before we conduct business as normal, each of you will be given a task. This task will decide your future. As soon as those words left their teacher's mouth, every last student thought that it was another test. You all need to pick a class representative. Oh good, just normal school stuff, the majority of the class thought. Sir, why did you say that this will decide our future if it's just normal school stuff? A short girl of a relatively slender build with notably large hands asked to her teacher. Her appearance was rather frog-like. She has a wide mouth, which dips down a little in the middle just like a common frog, and oval-shaped eyes with large, black irises, their lower eyelashes visibly pronounced. Her hair was a dark sea-green color and was very long, reaching to her hips with the ends tied together at the bottom in a large bow of hair. She has 2 armpit-length clumps framing her face and shorter bangs between her eyes, some partially swept to each side. That's a good question, Miss Azui. Picking a class representative ultimately decides who you want to represent your class to the public. The public's perception of you and your class is reflected through that representative. Should you pick poorly, the public will view you as such. They will think you're incapable of being fully fledged pros if their views of you are poor. So be wise as to who you want to represent your class. Aizawa said. Interesting. So who do you guys think? A male redhead asked. Well, it can't be someone who doesn't know what they're doing, so that leaves out Kaminari and me. A black-haired boy said with rather bulky-like elbows. What? Why me? The now name's Kaminari exclaimed. Dude, your quirk turns you into a dummy when you use it. I doubt you would be able to rise to the occasion without discharging on accident due to stress, the earphone jack girl said. Did you just make a sec joke? And personally, I don't see myself making good decisions, same with Ishido. The same black-haired boy said, outing out another one of his classmates, who rose from their seat. What? I could totally make a good class rep. The one who said this, who goes by Ishido, a girl of medium height, possibly said a little more broadly than some of her other female classmates. Due to her quirk, her skin was a light shade of pink, and she has somewhat square-shaped eyes with black sclerae and yellow irises and notably long eyelashes below and around the sides of her eyes. Her face was framed by short, fluffy, unruly pink hair slightly darker than her skin. She also has two thin pale yellow horns protruding from her head, hooked squarely and leaning diagonally to opposite sides, which seem to be slightly flexible, able to bend a bit to each side. Ishido, you still believe in ghosts, plus I think the public would have a hard time paying attention when you act all cutesy. The tall, lean young man with chin-length black hair spiked downwards, with jagged bangs coming about halfway down his forehead. He has almond-shaped eyes, usually stretched quite broad and rather large, with small pupils and straight teeth that dominate his grin. This got Ishido to sigh. I guess you're right, but as long as the class rep isn't a pervert, I don't care. Everyone begins to stare at the only male who was short enough to be in kindergarten as he shivered at the stares. Why are you guys looking at me like that? Well, that's a definite no for him, and I don't think I could either. I'm not really the leader type, the earphone jack girl said. Oh, and they can't be the ones causing trouble for no reason, the boy with shoulder-length hair said as he looked towards one of his classmates. Katsuki, why are you looking at me when you say that? Kaminari, well duh, it's because you always start trouble. Katsuki, oh, you wanna go? Hagakure, well I would, but I don't think people will take me seriously because I'm invisible. Kirishima, so that means we're left with Yaoyorozu, Yagi, Tsu, Ida, Uraraka, Sato, Shoji, myself, Koda, Tokoyami, Ojiro, Aoyama and Todoroki. Man, how are we going to decide? Ida, the class representative's duty is to lead others. It's not just something anyone can do. We should decide based on who out of those left have the trust of everyone. That in my opinion is the most logical way to go about it. We will hold an election. Tsu, but we've only known each other for a few days. Kirishima, besides, those that are left will probably vote for themselves. Even the guys that aren't left might just vote for themselves. Ida, but that means that those with multiple votes are by far the most suited for the job. Is that okay, Mr. Aizawa? Aizawa, just do what you want and finish already. We've got more important business to do. As he said that, he went into his sleeping bag and getting as much sleep as he got. Several minutes pass and the election results are up. Tenya Ida, 7 votes. Momo Yaoyorozu, 6 votes. Mizuki Yagi, 4 votes. Minoru Mineta, 1 vote. Shoto Todoroki, 1 vote. Katsuki Bakugo, 1 vote. Aizawa, alright, the class rep is Ida, followed with Yaoyorozu as our deputy. Ida, thank you for this esteemed honor, I will not fail you. Kirishima, yeah, I can get behind Ida. I mean, he at least made it easier for us to decide who to pick. Mizuki, oh well, at least Ida is someone more capable than I am. Aizawa, now that you have decided who your class rep will be, it's time to get back to business. For your next lesson, you will be undergoing some special training that will help you in the future of your career. Kaminari, what kind of training, sir? Aizawa, rescue training. You will be simulating situations that can happen at an undisclosed UA facility. Shipwrecks, earthquakes, that kind of stuff. Kirishima, cool, proper hero work. Kaminari, sounds awesome. Mina, heck yeah. Aizawa, however, due to the incident that happened this morning regarding the media, things will be different from here on. Ojiro, different how? Aizawa, good question Ojiro, you'll have 3 instructors. Me, All Might and another faculty member will be keeping tabs on your performance at an off-site facility. Ida, I see, it's to make sure nothing goes wrong during our training? Aizawa, correct Ida. The principal believed this was the best way to keep you guys safe without causing too much change to your training. Now get your hero costumes on and meet at the front. We will be taking a bus to get there. Each student grabs their individual costume cases and changes into their hero costumes before making their way to the bus. Ida, everyone, I want you all to be lined by in a single file line, then board the bus in an appropriate manner. Kirishima, but the bus is big enough for 2 lines. Ida reacts in shock and frustration at himself. Mizuki, what do you guys think the 3rd teacher is going to be? Katsuki, I just hope this training is good. As he said that, he turned his head to avoid the stare that Mizuki was giving him. Oh, so now you want to talk to me? The bus travels for what seems to be 45 minutes with each students sitting with their respective groups. So Mizuki, I wanted to ask you a question. Mizuki, oh sure Azui. What's up? Call me Tsu. Mizuki, oh. Tsu, your quirk, it seems similar to All Might in a way. Mizuki, oh really? I mean, I guess all strength quirks sort of work the same. Kirishima, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Aizawa, hey, we're here, stop messing around. The class arrives at the UA facility and make their way towards the dome-shaped building. Hello everyone, I've been waiting for you. Everyone begins to drop their jaws in awe. Mizuki, it's the space hero, 13, the chivalrous hero who has saved hundreds of people across the world. Uraraka, OMG. It's actually 13, she's one of my favorite heroes. 13, I can't wait to show you what's inside. Everybody, this is gonna be awesome. The class enter the building. Kirishima, holy sirpi. This place looks like an amusement park. 13, a shipwreck, a landslide, a fire, a windstorm, etc. I created this training facility to prepare you to deal with different types of disasters that I call it the unforeseen simulation joint. But you can just call it USJ. Everybody, just like Universal Studios Japan. Aizawa, hey, shouldn't All Might be here already? Let me guess, he booked an interview instead. 13, actually, it's something else. Apparently he did too much hero work on the way to school this morning and used up all his power. He's resting in the teacher's lounge. Aizawa, that man is the height of irresponsibility. Oh well, should be fine with just the 2 of us. Clocks ticking, we should get started. 13. Excellent. Before we begin, let me just say one thing, well, maybe 2 things, possibly 3, 4 or 5. Everybody, we get it. 13. Listen carefully, I'm sure that you're aware that I have a powerful quirk that it's called Black Hole. I can use it to SCK up anything and turn it to dust. Mizuki, yeah, you've used your quirk to save people from all kinds of disasters, haven't you? 13. That's true, but my quirk could also be used very easily to kill. Some of you also have powers that can be dangerous that in our superhuman society. All quirks are certified and regulated, so we often overlook how unsafe they can actually be. Please don't forget that if you lose focus or make the wrong move, your powers can be deadly, even if you're trying to do something virtuous like rescue someone. Thanks to Aizawa's fitness tests, you have been made aware of the potential your quirk haven't. Because of All Might's combat training, you likely experienced how dangerous your powers may actually be when used against other people, so carry those lessons over to this class. Today, you're going to learn how to use your quirks to save people's lives. You won't be using your powers to attack enemies, only to help. After all, that's what being a hero is all about, ensuring the safety of others. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for listening. The students begin to cheer. Kirishima, hey. Can I ask a question? 13. 13, sure thing young man, go ahead. Kirishima, if we aren't going to use our quirks to attack people, then. He points to the bottom of the stairs. Kirishima, then what's going on down there? 13, what do you mean? Both 13 and Aizawa turn around to see a purple mist-looking circle, hovering in front of the fountain as the lights begin to turn off as the USJ begins to darken, the purple mist circle expanding until. Aizawa, stay together and don't move. 13. Protect the students. Kirishima, look on. Kirishima, whoa. Who the heck are they? Has the training started already? He begins to move forward. Stay back. Aizawa said as he placed his goggles over his eyes. This is real. Those are villains. The class display a look of shock on their faces as they look on in fear. They weren't there to rescue anyone anymore. They had a new mission. Survive. Creator's thoughts. The Disgraced One, the Disgraced One. Creation is hard, Cheer me up? Vote for me. Your gift is the motivation for my creation. Give me more motivation. Have some idea about my story? Comment it and let me know. Forgive me that I've given you this type of writing, but I hope you enjoy. Comment. 0 comment. Chapter 7. Chapter 7, A Sudden Reunion. As the class displayed looks of shock that real villains were here put them in a state of fear. Kurogyri, the smoke-like villain, watch in front of him. It would seem the only real heroes I see are 13 and Eraserhead. How perplexing. The schedule we received from you today said that All Might would be here as well. Kurogyri said, which made Aizawa said, so you scumbags used the press as a cover and snuck onto campus. Where is he? I went through the trouble of bringing so many of my friends to meet him. They want All Might, the great symbol of peace, and he's not even here. Maybe if I kill a few of these kids he'll come out to play. Shigaraki said, who was annoyed that the main event wasn't here. What? Real villains? No way. How could so many of them get into a UA facility this secure? Kirishima said, with Yaoyorozu asking 13 about the security alarms not going off. Good question, and I'm not sure. As 13 said that, the students were somewhat worried by those words. Is the entire campus under attack? Or is this their only target? Either way, if the alarm sensors haven't been triggered, then one of these villains must have a quirk that's masking their presence, as they all carefully chose this isolated facility as an entry point at a time when class was being taught. They're fools for trespassing here, but they thought this out. Whatever their plan, they must have a concrete objective in mind, but what is it? The Ohm who said this was Shoto Todoroki, while Aizawa was seen walking past 13. 13, get them out of here and alert the main campus. Actually, if they have the ability to block our main sensors, they might be jamming our regular communications too. Kaminari, try using your quirk to contact the school. Aizawa said, with Kaminari was making an attempt to communicate to the school via his communicator. With Mizuki telling her teacher on what exactly was he going, saying that he can't fight them on his own since he can only nullify their quirks and his fighting style wasn't suited for this kind of scenario since it only works best in stealth and one-on-one fights. But Aizawa simply took a breath as his was calm as ever. You can't be a pro if you only have one trick. I'll leave it to you, 13. As he said that, he jumps from the top of the stairs and makes his way to the villains. Shooting squad, take your aim. A guy named Victor said as those with long-range quirks aimed for Aizawa. Didn't our intel say it was just going to be 13 and All Might out here? Who is that? One offer them said with a needle quirk with one of the villains said they don't recognize him, but if he thinks he can take them down easy, then he's dead. As they gun him, Victor tries to shoot his finger guns, but no shots were fired. Victor, my quirk. Stitch Giant, where are my bullets? Aizawa using his capture scarf wraps them around the 3 villains and slams them to the ground. Those idiots, that's Eraserhead, a pro that he can cancel your quirks just by looking at you. Steel Bulwark, cancellation? The villain begins rushing towards Aizawa. Steel Bulwark, but you can't erase the quirk of a heteromorphic type like me, can you? Aizawa, yeah, you're right. Saying this as he punches the villain in the face, sending him flying. But a villain like you is only dangerous if you can reach me. He dodges an attack from a villain behind him and kicks him in the face. Aizawa, good thing that I have taken measures to make sure that never happens. He throws the villains into each other. Aizawa, now which one of you gutter punks is next? Shigaraki, there he goes, trying to intimidate us. He's strong, and since he's hiding behind those goggles, you can't tell whose quirk he's erasing. That he's making it hard for us to work together or rely on each other's powers. How annoying. The worst thing about dealing with pros is when they live up to all of their hype. We then cut back to the top of the stairs with Mizuki being amazed by her teacher, but Ida told her to stop analyzing and saying they have to go, which she noted and went along with him, while the students make their way to the USJ entrance. The same purple mist that brought the villains inside blocks their escape. Kurogyri, there is no escape for you. Aizawa cursed as he blinked that one time, making the one who was the most trouble to get away. Kurogyri, it's a pleasure to meet you. We are the League of Villains. That I know it's impolite, but we decided to invite ourselves into this haven of justice to say hello, and besides, isn't this a fitting place for All Might, the symbol of peace, to take his last breath? Mizuki widened her eyes as she heard that as her breath hitched. What? Kurogyri, I believe he was supposed to be here today and yet I see no sign of him. There must have been some sort of change in plans we could not have foreseen. Well, in the end, I suppose it doesn't really matter that I still have a role to play. Without hesitation, Kirishima and Katsuki rush towards the villain in hopes of landing a hit on him. Katsuki, causing a huge explosion in the process. Kirishima, did you think we were just going to stand around and let you tear this place to shreds? As the dust settles to see the mist villain known as Kurogyri, unfazed. Kurogyri, you live up to your school's reputation, but you should be more careful, children. Otherwise, someone might get hurt. 13. You two get out of the way right now. Kurogyri, I'll scatter you across this facility to meet my comrades, and your deaths. The purple mist begins to surround them and cover any glimpse of their surroundings. Kirishima, Supi, what is this? Ida, through quick thinking, grabs Uraraka and Sato. Shoji covers Mina and Siro, while the others can only stand there, not moving. Ida looks on at the purple dome surrounding his classmates. Ida, what's going on? A portal opens above a body of water where we see Mizuki fall through with a yell that escaped from her mouth as she drops into the water. Water? That villain must have a warping quirk and they came here to kill Dad. I guess it's a good thing he's not in class right now. As she finished that thought, she begins to swim up. But where is he? While swimming up, she sees a villain swim towards her and panics. First catch of the day. Nothing personal, kid, but you got to die. As the villain opens his mouth and gets ready to bite down on Mizuki but was then kicked in the face by Tsu. Hey Yagi. She wraps her tongue around Mizuki as she begins to swim up to the surface. Location, shipwreck zone. For a frog, you've sure got some really big melons, Tsu. Perfect floaties. All Tsu said was ribbit as she lands Mineta onto the deck of the boat hard, causing him to yell in pain for his back, and proceeds to climb the side of the ship. Mizuki, you saved my life, Azui. Tsu, I told you to call me Tsu. Mizuki, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. Tsu, well, this is turning out to be a terrible day of class. Mizuki, I keep thinking about what that villain said. They knew our whole schedule, who would be here, and they must have gotten into school files while we were stuck in the school cafeteria. The teachers were too busy trying to get the media off of school grounds, so that means they've been waiting for the perfect time to attack, just like Todoroki said they were. Mineta, hey, hold on a second. It's not like these guys could really kill All Might. Once he shows up, he's going to pound these villains until there is nothing left. Tsu, think about it though, that if the villains spent so much time planning this attack, then they probably figured out a way to kill him. These words got Mizuki curious. Tsu, and didn't you hear what that smoke guy said earlier? Maybe we should worry more about not getting tortured to death. Otherwise we might not live long enough to see All Might again, and even if he does show up, who knows if he'll make it back in one piece. Mineta begins to freak out at these words. No. The pros are going to save us, right? Tell Frog Melons to shut up. Tsu, ribbit. From the waters, the villains come out and make an appearance. UBS. I'll enjoy eating you. The villain with shark-like quirk yelled, which got Mineta to scream out in fear. Bad guys. Mizuki was in thought. Azui might be right. If they are here for Dad, they might have a way to defeat him, and they wouldn't plan this attack if they didn't. But why him out of all the heroes? Is it because of his very existence discourages villains and evil? Or is it because he's the one and only symbol of peace and justice? Actually, it doesn't matter, and I don't care what their reasons are. For now I have to focus. I have to face this evil, head on. As she thought of this, she focuses towards her classmates. If they can beat him, then that means we have to stop whatever these villains are planning, that we have to work together and keep All Might safe, and no one at UA knows what's happening. This is up to us. Let's be heroes. Mineta, what do you mean fight? Are you crazy? These guys might be able to kill All Might, and you think we can take them? Did you hit your head when we got warped here? The best plan for us to just wait for a real pro from UA to come and save us. Mizuki, think about it, those villains down. They clearly have an advantage in water and assume that's where we'll fight. Mineta, are you even listening? Tsu, if that's the case, they must have known what was inside the USJ before they warped in. Mizuku, yeah, but for a group with such careful planning, there's one thing that really sticks out to me. Something that doesn't add up. They sent you here Azui? Tsu, ribbit? Mizuki, whoops I meant Tsu. Yeah, they warped you to the shipwrecked zone. Tsu, that kind of fell apart on you didn't it? Mizuki, a little bit. Mineta, but why does it matter that she's here? Mizuki, yeah, it means the villains probably have no idea what our quirks are. Tsu, ribbit you've got a point that if they knew I was a frog, they would have just sent me to that fire zone instead of somewhere full of water. Mizuki, they probably separated us because they didn't know what we could do, but I'm also guessing that Mist Guy didn't have the capacity to separate us individually, otherwise it would have been easier for them to take us down so we can use our advantage. They don't know what our quirks are, so for all they know, the three of us could be super powerful. Look, none of them are trying to come up to the boat. That proves they are a little unsure, but that means they aren't going to underestimate us. Either that they're being smart and playing it safe, for now. Tsu, so let's talk quirks. I'll go first if you want. Obviously I can jump high and cling to pretty much any wall, and of course there is my tongue that I can stick it out for about 20 meters. Finally, I can also secrete a toxic mucus, though it only stings a bit. We can probably only use my jumping and my tongue here, forget about the other stuff. Mizuki, I figured you were powerful, but that sounds freaking awesome that I have my super strength, but I can only use 20% without it breaking the bones in my body. Mineta, I've got these sticky ball. Mizuki, huh? He then removes a ball from his head with Mizuki sighing in relief as shook off the thought that was dancing in her mind. Mineta, their strength varies, depending on how I'm feeling they might stick for a whole day. They grow back as fast as I pull them off. But I'll bleed if I use too many. And they don't stick to me, I just bounce right off of them. The two stare at him with serious faces. Mineta, don't look at me like that. This is why I said we should wait for the pros. My quirk is totally unfit for battle. Mizuki, no, you have an incredible power, really, we just need to figure out how we can use it. One of the villains using a giant water arm slices the boat in half, which got Mizui to be alerted as one of the villains was yelling out that they were bored as they were ready to take the three teens out for good. Tsu, that's a great power, now the ship is sinking. Mineta in a state of panic starts to throw his sticky ball to the side of the boat, landing in the water. Mizuki also freaking tries to stay calm. You have to calm down, they'll guess your quirk, huh? As she looked closely, she saw that most of villains swam away from Mineta's ball. Not what you're thinking. Wait, they are afraid to touch them? This got Mizuki thinking. The boat will be fully submerged in less than a minute. Once they're in the water, they won't stand a chance against us, one of the villains yelled with Mineta, still panicking backs up to the wall. Mineta, we're fish food. Tsu, so Mineta, are you really sure the hero thing is right for you? Mineta, shut up, it's weirder not to be scared right now. We just got out of junior high a few days ago. I didn't think I'd be facing death a few days after starting UA. I can't believe I am going to die without touching Yayarose's bub. This got him a slap to the face from Mizuki with the boy shutting up with tears rolling pit of his eyes. Listen up, an enemy that is certain of their victory is bound to make a mistake. I mean, All Might said something along the lines of that on a TV interview once. Mineta, what does that mean? Mineta looks at Mizuki's fist continuously shaking. Now's our chance, we can beat them. The villains stare on as the boat continues to sink. Look at those kids, I bet some of them are already crying for their mommies. Hey focus, remember, Shigaraki told us to keep our guard up, that we can't judge them by how old they are, but by their quirks. They could do anything. Of course we'll definitely have an advantage in the water, so I'm not exactly worried for us. The villains were startled as they hear a battle cry coming from the top of the ship as Mizuki was seen jumping off the side of the ship. Hey jackasses. As she yelled out, most of the villains saw her attempt as idiotic move on her part, with Mizuki readies her fingers and preparing an attack using one for all. Tsu, you ready Mineta? Mineta, even though she's scared as I am, even though she's shaking, she's still going through with this. Mizuki was above them, almost hitting the water. Take this. Delaware. Smash. A giant force of wind was sent into the water, creating a whirlpool dragging the villains. Tsu, Mineta, now. Tsu leaps high into the air and grabs Mizuki with her tongue. Mineta, what the heck Yagi, how do you do it? You're acting so cool, and I'm not helping at all. Ha! He starts to throw the ball on his head into the water. Take this, you villains. You can eat my sticky ball? Context DMNIT. The sticky ball began to surround them as they were seeking into the whirlpool. What's going on? I don't know. The ball began to stick on the villains. Did these come from that kid? I can't get them off of me. The villains begin to get stuck to one another. Tsu, we rounded them all up, not too shabby. You guys are amazing, both of you. That I guess we passed the shipwreck zone. The trio make it to the shore of the shipwreck zone. Mineta, hee I had a good poop this morning, which makes my ball even stickier. They aren't going anywhere. Mizuki, why did you need to tell us that? Though I can't believe we managed to get all of them at once. Tsu, we should probably think about our next move now. Mizuki, yeah, you're right that I think we should make getting help our top priority, so if we follow the shore to the exit, then we can avoid the central plaza entirely. Tsu, good idea, that way we won't run into the villains Mr. Aizawa is fighting. But how long will he be able to hold them off for? What if he gets killed? If Mr. Aizawa is on his own, he'll only exert himself that he'll end up defeated by those villains because he was trying to keep us safe. Mizuki said. Mineta, wait, don't tell me you're suggesting. Are you trying to get us killed or something? Mizuki, I'm not saying we should jump into the middle of the battle, but maybe we can find a way to take a few of those guys out and lighten his load. Tsu, the trio begin to hiding and move along the shoreline. Mineta, remember Yagi, we're just here to see how things are going, right? Tsu, ribbit. Mizuki, I know that we'll get out of here the second it seems dangerous. We see Aizawa continuing to beat down on the villains and readies himself, as the mysterious man covered in hands rushes towards him. Shigaraki, first in was 23 seconds. Aizawa, final boss. He throws his capture tape towards him. Shigaraki, then it was 24 seconds, then it was 20, then 17. Aizawa gets close to him and elbows his stomach. However, his elbow was caught by the villain's hand. It was hard to see when you were jumping around. But I found your tell. It's your hair. When it drops, it means you've stopped using your quirk. As Shigaraki said that, Aizawa's sleeve begins to decay. Shigaraki, you're having to blink more often, so don't push yourself too hard now. You might just fall apart. Wouldn't that be a shame? We see his skin start to decay also as Aizawa, without a second thought, punches the villain away from him. Damn it, he destroyed my elbow. The villains begin to rush towards him again, and despite his injury, continues to fight. Shigaraki, that annoying quirk of yours isn't suited for drawn-out fights against big groups, isn't it? Don't you think you're out of your element here? Eraserhead, that you're much better at working stealthily. You're known for surprise attacks, not fighting head-to-head, but despite knowing that, you didn't hesitate to jump into the middle of this fight to put your students at ease. Aizawa continues to fight against the villains rushing towards him as Aizawa was breathing heavily. Shigaraki, and look at you, you're still standing. You really are so cool. And by the way, hero. Aizawa looks behind him as a shadow was casted over him as Shigaraki simply smiled. Shigaraki, I am not the final boss. The creature behind him, known only as a Nomu, slashes Aizawa's face, destroying the Google with a few drops of blood following. Mizuki displays a face, for which can only be described as the face of horror and fear as the Nomu continues to slam Aizawa's face into the ground. Mizuki, no, Mr. Aizawa. Shigaraki, what do you think of him, Eraserhead? He is the bioengineered anti-symbol of peace, but you can call him Nomu. Mizuki, Nomu? How can something like that be created? The Nomu continues to pull his arm until it can be heard cracking. Aizawa, Shigaraki, you can erase other people's powers. That's irritating, but it's nothing impressive. When faced with true devastating power, you might as well be a quirkless child. Aizawa turns to the Nomu and tries to erase his quirk, but the Nomu slams his foot onto his other arm. Aizawa, he's breaking my bones like they're twigs. I'm positive I erased his quirk. Then that means he's super strong, even without powers, and I think he's as strong as All Might. The Nomu continuously slams his head into the ground. Mineta, no that I can't watch this anymore, that we should be getting out of here super fast. 2. Ribbit. Mizuki pended her fist. I can't just sit here and let him die. I have to do something. Kurogyri teleports to Shigaraki. Shigaraki, Kurogyri, did you manage to kill 13? Kurogyri, 13 is out of commission, however I wasn't able to disperse some of the students and one got away. Shigaraki begins to scratch his neck in frustration. Shigaraki, Kurogyri, you fool, if you weren't our warp gate I'd tear every last atom from your body. He continues to scratch his neck, but stops. Shigaraki, there's no way we can't win if dozens of pros shows up to stop us. It's game over, back to the title screen, and I was looking forward to finishing this today. Damn it, let's go home. Mineta, did I hear that right? Did he just say they were going to leave? Tsu, I think so. Mineta, this is amazing, we're safe and we don't have to fight. Tsu, oh yeah, but I've got a bad feeling about this one, Yagi. Mizuki, yeah, it seems weird that they are retreating at this point even if help is on the way. Dad is probably coming, but don't they want to kill him? They must know that UA will beef up their security after this, so now is their best chance. But what's going on here? Why is this game over? Shigaraki, oh, before we leave, let's make sure the symbol of peace is broken. Let's wreck his prid. Mina, hey. Shigaraki, Mizuki, Ashido. Shigaraki, another brat. Mina, leave our teacher alone, you stupid villain. Shigaraki, how annoying. Aizawa, Ashido, get out of here. No. I refuse to just stand here and watch you die. I'm going to save you, sir. From the back, we see Katsuki and Kirishima arrive on the scene. Kirishima, yeah, and if you think you can hurt our teacher, you'll have to get through us. Mizuki, guys, don't do this. Shigaraki, geez, your students really are brave, but it's too bad they won't live to become heroes. That Nomu, kill them. The Nomu rushes towards them. Mizuki, no. I can't let them die. I have no choice, I have used 100%. Her arm begins to glow. Mizuki, Detroit. But before she uses her attack, the glass ceiling above cracks open, as two people can be seen falling from the top of the dome-shaped building. Crashing into the ground, the area is covered in dust and smoke. I get it now that your Shikigami are created from shadows. So what? I don't get it, though. Why did you run back then? What a waste of talent. Whatever. Either way, that won't be enough to fix this. He points towards his bloody chest. He figured it out, You're risking your life over stupid sheet. The black-haired boy, Fushiguro, begins to stand up with much difficulty as the one who goes by Sukuna simply scoffed. This brat isn't even worth that mu-dash. Deku? Sukuna? Fushiguro, what? Mizuki yelled out in surprise as she heard Katsuki said that as the smoke clears, to reveal the green-haired boy standing over the black-haired teen. What? Did Bakugo really said that name? A name he also gives me as well to mock me? That boy, he looks almost like me. That hair, it's the same style and color as mine, so you're telling me that's EZMY. Big brother? Comment. Zero comment. Chapter 8. Chapter 8, A Talk in Limbo. Sukuna could only be confused when he heard the green-haired girl call him Big Brother along with the blonde-haired boy that called him a different name. Well, it looks like you've got friends here, brat. Still not saying anything? Well, Katsuki couldn't help but feel his arms shake as he looked at the boy he once knew from the past, but he looks different, as if he has this killing intent around him. Shigaraki meanwhile was seen scratching his neck at the unknown player. Oi, who is this brat? He's ruining the game. Sukuna had a thoughtful look on his face. Brat, you better do something, otherwise I might just kill these kids that are your friends. That even if I tried it you'd still kill them. As Sukuna heard that he just laughed, which irked Shigaraki the most. Oh, this will be fun. That's it. Nomu, kill him. As if a SW flipped on, the Nomu rushed towards Sukuna and grabbing his leg. All Sukuna did was look down at the Nomu with a raised eyebrow as the creature proceeds to try and slam him into the ground. Oi, don't think you can interrupt my plans. Especially since you're missing an arm. Sukuna said while holding up the Nomu's arm with nonchalant look on his face with Shigaraki widening his eyes. What? I didn't even see it happen. But the Nomu simply regenerates its arm back with Sukuna just scoffed. What? You think I'm impressed? You're just like the special grade. All bark and no bite. Shigaraki, damn it. This brat. He's toying with my Nomu. Shigaraki then rushed towards Sukuna and touches his arm. Shigaraki, let's see if you can beat him with one arm, you stupid brat. Mizuki, Izuku. But Sukuna simply looked at Shigaraki with a little bit of interest which disappeared quickly. That power of yours is interesting. Too bad it's not worth my time. Shigaraki, what? Sukuna then regenerates his arm which set off a look of shock on Katsuki's face. What? That's not possible. Kirishima asked Katsuki what he meant by that. Deku never could do that before. He's quirkless. As Mizuki heard that, she widens her eyes. Q quirkless? She was just like, me. Kirishima, well look again, he was able to regenerate his arm back. Maybe he was a late bloomer. Don't screw with me, shitty hair. I know that nerd better than any of you. He was never a late bloomer. Fushiguro then gets up and turned his attention towards them, and no, that's not it. Look, everyone just get out of here. That isn't Izuku you're looking at. Mizuki, no. We won't abandon him. Fushiguro, can't you just listen, he's going to kill you? Sukuna continues to fight the Nomu without any struggle. I see, so you can regenerate your limbs like a curse can, but let's see if your brain can come back as well. As he said that, he used his fingernails and then slices the brain off of the Nomu into shreds, killing it instantly. Shigaraki with look pure shock, breath shakily at what he just saw. No fair, you cheated. You killed my Nomu. Sukuna, oh, don't get me wrong, your little pet was somewhat strong. But he got boring real quick. So I figured I'd get this massacre started while I still have this brat hostage. Shigaraki, what are you? Sukuna, who am I? Why would I tell a dead man my identity? It'd be a waste of my breath. Now then, time to deal with yo. But then the doors of the burst open which got Sukuna to look over. Now what? Just then the sound of footsteps can be heard at the top of the stairs with the students on the ground having a look of relief on their faces, as the symbol of peace has arrived. All Might, have no fear, students. But all Sukuna did was look at the hero with disinterest as he felt the brat held some sort of hate towards this certain hero. Sukuna, so this is one of those heroes I heard of? Honestly, if you think he can beat me, then you are mistaken. All Might, I was having a feeling of unease when Aizawa and 13 weren't picking up my calls. So I ran over, running into young Ida along the way. I can't believe all of this went down while I was resting. That I hate to think of how frightened these children must be and how hard my colleagues had to fight to protect them. The only thing I can do now is tell them that they will be okay, he thought. We're saved. Mizuki, he's here, All Might, and he's not smiling. Shigaraki, after all of this waiting, the moment my Nomu dies, you show up. You've got to be kidding. All Might leaps to the center of the USJ with Aizawa in his hands and Mizuki, Tsu and Mineta beside him. Sukuna, He's quite fast but not as fast as that blindfolded BSTRD. Shigaraki, no, it wasn't supposed to be like this. That DMN brat ruined everything. Kurogyri, warp us out of here. Make no mistake, All Might, one of these days I will kill you. And you brat. Sukuna, Shigaraki, when I get my hands on you, I'm gonna disassemble your molecules. But then he felt the excruciating pain on his right hand and looked to see that his hand was sliced clean off as blood spurted out, causing him to scream in pain with Kurogyri quickly leaving the area with Shigaraki. How did I was hoping to cut off his whole arm. Oh well, less of his power to not be a hindrance. Mineta, well, I'm just glad those two are gone. We should All Might rushes towards Mineta, grabbing him as we see Sukuna slam his fist into the ground. Sukuna, damn it, that big guy grabbed him before I could turn him into paste. I must admit, you are an annoying one. Mizuki, All Might, you lot, get Aizawa and yourselves back to the entrance as soon as possible. Mizuki, but, All Might, Please young Yagi, whoever this is, his blood Lewis that is overwhelming. Sukuna, I see that you recognize my power, but tell me, you really think you can stop me from killing these kids? All Might, I won't let you hurt them. Sukuna, we'll just see about that. All Might, damn it, I didn't expect this. This guy, he looks like Izumi, but his bloodlust and demeanor tell of a completely different individual, and no matter, I must do my best to hold him off at least until the other heroes come. Sukuna, you're just like this brat, all talk of saving others, but completely helpless. Let's just see how long you last. Sukuna seemingly disappears from All Might's sight and Wasm's found in front of him as Sukuna delivers a deadly gut punch on All Might's weak spot, causing him to cough up blood. Sukuna, pathetic. Utterly pathetic. He then strikes him across the face and sends him into the stairs. So this is what a hero is? How disappointing, and here I thought you were like that blindfolded BS. Guess I was wrong. All Might, Texas Smash. He sends a punch towards Sukuna, and while he catches the punch, he feels the force of the attack. Sukuna, guess you're not all talk after all, unlike the brat. Sukuna sees the students run up the stairs. Sukuna, perhaps I should give you some more motivation. All Might, just shut up. He then kicks Sukuna back into the fountain with Fushiguro thinking that All Might's power could be a match for Sukuna. All Might then walks towards Fushiguro. All Might, young man, I won't lecture you about you using your quirk illegally. After all, you were protecting yourself, but I suggest you get out of here and head back with the others. Fushiguro, with all due respect, he's my responsibility. All Might, even so, I don't want to see a young man die because of my mistakes. Fushiguro, your mistakes? All Might, perhaps if I didn't abandon you that day, this wouldn't have happened to you. I guess that's how my MS Tier felt, when she abandoned her own son. Even so, I won't abandon you, not this time. Sukuna, wow, you really are strong. But you lack the will to kill me. Sukuna speeds towards him and gives All Might another blow to the stomach, causing more blood to spill from his mouth. Mizuki watches in horror as her father's seen getting hurt. Sukuna, down already? He lifts All Might in the air by his head. Sukuna, oh well, it was fun while it lasted. A green flash can be seen zooming towards him. Mizuki, get away from my dad. Smash. Without thinking straight, she uses an attack using 100% of her power, causing a huge gust of wind to emerge. My arm, it isn't broken and I used 100%. Sukuna, oh you look just like this brat. Mizuki, The smoke clears to see Sukuna catching her fist. Sukuna, funny you deal blows as strong as this weakling, perhaps even stronger. Tell me, how long can you last? Fushiguro, no. Sukuna, Fushiguro, I won't let you kill them? Sukuna, oh, the waste of talent finally wants to fight again. What, did it infuriate you that I stopped paying attention? Or are you still trying to save this worthless brat? Izuku's voice begins to echo in Fushigiro's mind. Then why did you bother saving me? Flashback and Fushiguro, the only thing granted equally to all, is an unfair reality. Within his inner monologue, he remembers the words of his sister. Tsumiki, if I have time to curse someone, I'd rather spend it thinking about those precious to me. Fushiguro, there was no room to doubt what a good person she was. She deserved happiness more than anyone. But Tsumiki was still cursed. The father who named me Megumi, with no regard to my gender, is still off living as he pleases somewhere. Karma isn't fully automatic. Evil people can only be judged under the law. Jujutsu sorcerers are just another cog in the machine of retribution that I want more good people to enjoy fairness, even if only a few, so I save people unequally. Sukuna feels a presence from Fushiguro. Sukuna, nice. That's it. So this is when you start burning through your life. Now I see. Well, in that case, Sukuna, show me Megumi. Fushiguro. An aura begins to surround Fushiguro, reciting the words of his trump card attack. Fushiguro, sacred treasure swing and ring, ring-8 grip dash. The aura, however, begins to fade, the rain from the hole in the glass roof dripping on top of them. Fushiguro, just so you know, I don't have any logical reason for saving you back then. Even if it was dangerous, I couldn't bear to see a good person like you die. I did have my reservations, but ultimately, it was for a selfish, emotional reasons. That's fine though. The tattoos on Sukuna's face begin to disappear. Fushiguro, I'm not a hero. I'm a jujitsu sorcerer. So I've never once regretted saving you. The tattoos fully disappear and Izuku returns with a sigh. TJ escaped from his lips as he let go of Mizuki's arm with the girl taking a step back. I see. You really are smart, Fushiguro. You've put more thought into this than I have. Mizuki, what? His voice changed. Izuku, I think your conviction's a proper one, but don't think mine's wrong either. Blood begins to pour down his chest due to the absence of his heart that it made him stagger. Well, Demon, guess I'm done for, and I guess I don't have to worry about you, Kujisaki or Gojo-sensei. So live a long life. As he said, he collapses to the ground, but before he could, an arm catches his now lifeless body, causing him to stare into the emerald eyes of the girl who was shedding tears while screaming out to him, but he couldn't hear anything. How did I guess I have little sister? It's too bad this is the first and last time I'll see you. Goodbye, lil sis. That was all Izuku said towards Mizuki, who screamed out to Izuku even more as Izuku Midoriya passed away. We cut to the police station in which Detective Tsukachi, with Principal Nizu seated in an office. Tsukachi, okay, here are the reports from the incident at the USJ. So far, based on those we have managed to arrest, there were approximately 74 low-level villains who partook in the USJ invasion. There were no serious injuries to the students, only scrapes. The teachers, however, had it the worst. Aizawa suffered serious bone splintering his left arm and also suffered facial fracturing, but should take a few weeks to heal with any serious damage. However, the orbital floor in his eyes were completely destroyed. It's unknown as to whether or not his eyesight will be impaired once he is healed up. Nizu, I see, and what about 13? Tsukachi, despite some bad lacerations to her back, 13 is going to pull through. Nizu, I see, I'm glad that Aizawa and 13 are okay. I'm just sad that I didn't provide them additional support. Tsukachi, you didn't know this was going to happen, it's not your fault. Nizu, thank you, old friend. But what about our other problem? Tsukachi, yeah. The last thing was that there were 2 people found deceased at the USJ. The creature that one of the students heard, called a Nomu, and a child the same age as the students. The 2 head over to the coroner's office and see 2 bodies laying on the table. Tsukachi, the Nomu died instantaneously, its brain was shredded up and wasn't able to regenerate it. We do know based on the student's testimony on the cause of death. Nizu, what was the cause? Tsukachi, the kid. Nizu, you're joking? Tsukachi, I'm afraid not. Nizu, how is this possible? Tsukachi, we're not exactly sure, however. The only person that was with him was the kid in the uniform, whom the police arrested. Nizu, arrested? Tsukachi, his name is Megumi Fushiguro. It seems as though any public records of him were being kept private. We do know, however, of his stepsister, Tsumiki, who is in the hospital. But, as far as I am aware, this is out of my hands now. Nizu, how come? Tsukachi, the police got a call saying that Fushiguro is to be released, while the body is to be sent to a special coroner's office. We're not sure who they are, but based on who was on the phone, it seemed important. Nizu, I see. Fushiguro and Izuku's body was loaded up in a truck and drives off to Tokyo Prefectural Jujutsu High School, but as the truck passes through the streets, an oddly dressed man notices a faint presence, a man wearing what appears as a Buddhist monk's robes. Well, tell me, was there any real reason to use a precious finger to test Sukuna's strength? 2. Well, there wasn't much point to it with a half-baked test case. But we did learn a few things. I'll be praying that's not just an excuse. 3. La retfa, sesruk fo nick 8 sia. Stop talking. No one understands what you're saying. The crosswalk lights turn green and the mysterious Buddhist and company cross the street. We don't understand, yet the meaning flows right into our minds. It's creepy. The group head into a local cafe. Hostess, welcome. Would you like a seat for one? Buddhist, yes, one please. The group are seated at the table. Buddhist, so, Jogo, about our little talk beforehand, You're saying your boss wants to reverse the current positions of humans and curses. Is that it? Jogo, well, roughly. It's slightly different, though. Humans are made up of lies. For every positive action and emotion they show, there's always a flip side. Yet negative emotions like hatred and hostility are truths without falsehood. Since we curses are born from those emotions, that makes us true, pure beings. Imitations should be eliminated. Buddhist. Yet at present, you're the ones being eliminated. Jogo, that's why we've come to ask you. What can we do to defeat the jujitsu sorcerers? Ghetto? Ghetto, it's to fulfill 2 conditions before going to war, then you can win. Jogo, and what are those 2 conditions? Ghetto, the first involves the man known as the strongest jujitsu sorcerer. You have to render Satoru Gojo incapable of fighting. The second is to get Ryaman Sukuna and Izuku Yagi on your side. Jogo, hold on, wasn't his name Midoriya? Ghetto, my mistake. Jogo, also, didn't he die? That Izuku brat, Ghetto, did he though? I'm not so sure. We find ourselves in an unfamiliar place, the ground covered with water and a mountain of bones and skulls in the center. Sukuna, don't look inside me without permission. I hate it. Brett. Izuku simply stared at Sukuna with a blank look. This is my mindscape, ya parasite. Izuku simply says while flipping off the King of Curses. Creator's thoughts. The Disgraced One, The Disgraced One. Hope you all enjoy this chapter. Have some idea about my story? Comment it and let me know. Comment. 0 comment. Chapter 9. Chapter 9, Training to be Better. Right now, we find ourselves in a white sterile room, where Gojo and Ijichi were there side by side staring at the deceased body of Izuku Midoriya. If you encounter it, your choices are to either run or die. I warned them that fighting was absolutely not an option. Ijichi said. It was intentional. Gojo said with Ijichi wondered what Gojo meant. There was a special grade. Sending first years to rescue 5 who may or may not be alive should be out of the question. Besides, with Izuku, I was the one who forced the issue and got his execution indefinitely suspended. Some higher-ups who didn't like that took advantage of my absence and the special grade to tactfully dispose of him. Gojo said, which caused Ijichi to almost cries. If the other 2 had also died, it'd be more harassment for me and 2 birds with 1 stone for them. Gojo said. No, but No one expected it to become a special grade by the time the dispatch was issued. Ijichi said. Searching for someone to blame is just a pain. Maybe I should just kill all of the higher-ups. As Gojo finished that, Ijichi was shocked at this information, until the door slides open, with a long-haired brunette woman and a small white-haired child stepping through. You're not usually this emotional. The brown-haired woman said. It's good to see you, Larry-san. Ijichi said to the woman. Looks to me like you've taken quite a liking to him, Gojo, she said with Gojo simply shrugged his shoulders. I've always been a nice guy who cares for my students, Shoko. Don't torment Ijichi too much. He's got it rough, stuck between us and the higher-ups. Yes. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Ijichi thought, feeling appreciated from Shoko's kind words. I don't care about the man's hardships. Gojo said. That's so. Shoko questioned with Ijichi snapping out of his fantasy. Shoko then lifts the blanket off the corpse. So this is Sukuna's vessel, huh? She questioned with the small white-haired girl steps away from the body, somewhat startled but nevertheless observed. I can take him apart as I please, right? Shoko said with a hint of excitement in her voice. Just make sure you get good use out of him. Gojo said. Oh, I will. Who do you think I am? Shoko asked. An insomniac chick who really needs sleep? Ijichi thought. Meanwhile, inside of the hole in Izuku's chest, an unknown plane of existence was seen, the ground covered with water and a mountain of bones and skulls in the center. Don't look inside me without permission. I hate it. You brat. The one who said was none other than Sukuna himself, who stared down at Izuku, who decided to flip of the King of Curses, then pisses off ya beefy. And while you're at it, come down from there. My, you're being awfully hostile, aren't you? Sukuna said with Izuku's eyes twitching at that question, Oh, don't mind me, I'm just wondering how pissed I am because wife murked me why a hole. He shouted with Sukuna simply chuckling, this is the thanks I get for fixing your arm? Don't pull that card. You ripped out my heart after that. He said while he looked around the area he was in. Just what is this place? And I really don't want to think about staying here with you of all people so dash. With that he grabbed a horned skull from the mountain. Let's get this over with. He then throws the skull at Sukuna with Sukuna jumping up towards the giant spine above them. Izuku then runs up the giant rib and chases towards Sukuna. Let's see how great you are, Yabi. As he said this, he went for many punches towards Sukuna who simply evaded them with ease, but Izuku didn't give up so easily as he punched where Sukuna once stood on, which caused the curse to be surprised of the change of the attack. He aimed for where I stood? But even as he thought of that, he had to avoid a kick when Izuku did a handstand. Man it. He cursed out as he went after the curse, using his legs to send out any powerful swings to at least cause any contact, but that wasn't enough as Sukuna appears behind him, grabbing him by the arm and forcing him to wince. Man, talk about slight entertainment. As he said that, he went to kick Izuku off, but Izuku suddenly held onto the curse, causing the two of them to fall off together and aiming to hit the water from down below. Izuku, who was now out of his restraint, attempted to kick Sukuna for the latter to grab the boy by the leg and send him down faster towards the water, where he landed hard with a groan. That minute, I thought that would have worked. For those so-called pro-heroes, but not me. Sukuna said as he landed near Izuku and grabbing the boy at the back of his collar. This place isn't the afterlife, Brad, it's my innate domain. Innate domain? That thing Fushiguro was talking about. You could say we're in my mind. In other words, we're not dead yet. If you'll accept my conditions, I'll fix your heart and bring us back to life. He said while letting go of Hoodie with Izuku narrowing his eyes. You're only saying this because you don't want to die, because it'll be a hassle to find a suitable vessel for you. You think it'll be that hard? You brat don't know a DMN thing, but the situation's changed. In the near future, I'll be able to see something interesting. He says this as he imagines the technique Fushiguro refused to use. He then turned his attention to Izuku while holding two fingers. I have two conditions. 1. When I chant extension, you'll hand over your body for 1 minute. 2. You'll forget this promise. But after the sheet you pulled, there's no way I'll lend you my body. Especially after you tried to hurt my friends. Izuku growled out with Sukuna sighing a bit, as he was now near the boy with his around the boy's shoulders. If that's the case, then how about I promise that I won't kill or injure anyone during that minute? Sukuna, that I'm trying to believe you, but I can't. Izuku said with a bit of hate in his eyes, which made Sukuna chuckle. It's not about whether you believe me or not. This is a pact. A heias. I'll be the one punished if I break it. If you purse selfish gain beyond your means, you'll earn retribution. I'm pretty sure you've experienced that for yourself. But it wasn't a problem before, so what was different that time? Oh, that time I wanted to SW2 and you were doing as the sorcerer told you to. A pact founded in mutual interest. That's one of the key factors behind all jujitsu. But let's add a few more conditions. When Izuku said that, Sukuna raised his eyebrows until he was struck in the face by Izuku. That was for my heart, you dipshit, that the extra conditions that when you take over you won't be able to harm me either for 1 minute. As Izuku said that, Sukuna clicked his tongue while playfully chuckling. Is that right? Fine then. What about the other conditions? I'm pretty sure you have so much to think about. Izuku simply got into a fighting stance. Teach me how to use your curse techniques, Ryaman. As he heard that, he just laughed out loud. What an interesting brat you are. Alright, but let's see you can actually put up a fight, Izuku. As that was said, both Izuku and Sukuna got into their fighting stance. The room light above Gojo begins to flicker. You know, I have a bad personality. Gojo said with Ijichi agreeing to what Gojo said. Ijichi, expect a hard forehead flick later. As Gojo said that, Ijichi widened his eyes. A forehead flick? Being a teacher isn't my style. Do you know why I decided to teach at this school? Ask me. As Ijichi asked why, all Gojo said was because has a dream. A dream? Ijichi questioned with Gojo nodding his head. As you can see in the case of Izuku, The top of the jujitsu world is a den of vice. Conservative fools. Traditional fools. Arrogant fools. Just plain fools. It's a bargain sale on rotten Mekon. I want to reset that garbage jujitsu world. Murdering everyone at the top would be an easy task, but they would just get replaced. It wouldn't bring a revolution, and if I did that, no one would follow me, so that's why I chose education. To raise up strong, clever comrades. That's why I occasionally tossed my missions to my students. It's tough love. Or maybe you just want to slack off? Ijichi thought. They're all talented, especially the third year, Hikari, and the second year, Okatsu. They'll become jujitsu sorcerers on a par with me. Gojo clenches his fists with Ijichi noticing Izuku was one of those as well. He thought as Shoko gained their attention, "Hey, you two. I'm about to get started. Are you going to watch from there?" Unaware of what's happening behind her, Izuku was seen. Slowly rising from the table with Ijichi freaking out. Noticing his reacting, Shoko turns around and was too freaked out by the alive Izuku. As Izuku opened his eyes, he looked down to find that he was completely naked, so he used the white cloth to cover his lower half. "Well, it can't be helped, I was dead. Geez, Gojo-san. She's alive." Ijichi stammered out with Gojo simply chuckling. "Ijichi, be quiet." Shoko looked a bit disappointed with Izuku just scratching the back of his head, then heard footsteps approach. Izuku shifts his attention. "Izuku, I guess you're back from the dead." "Welcome back," Gojo said with Izuku grinning, "Yet it's good to be back." As he says that, both him and Gojo dabbed each other up while the small white-haired girl stands behind Ijichi as she stares at this interaction with Izuku being curious about the white-haired girl. "We cut outside of the morgue. I'll have to revise the reports," Shoko said with Gojo saying to leave as it is. Shoko wondered why until Gojo gave the answer. "I want to give Izuku time to gain the minimum power necessary before he's targeted again." "Sorry, Shoko, but could you leave Izuku listed as dead on the records? Even the public ones?" Gojo nodded his head. "So you plan to keep Izuku completely hidden away?" Shiko asked with Gojo simply saying, "No, I'll have him make his comeback in time for the exchange event." "Why?" "The reason is simple. No one's allowed to take the events from youth away from young people. Right now we Izuku changing into a set of clothes, green long-sleeved hoodie, black joggers and the shoes that have in the built-in curse metal." He couldn't help but smile a bit. "I bet everyone will be surprised." "Not everyone," Gojo simply said in a vague-like tone. Later on we cut to a certain cafe, where Geto and the curses that have gathered around them creating a presence that only a few notice, including one of the workers who was scared for his life. "Satoru Gojo, I wonder if we could kill him if we joined forces," one of the curse said. "Either he'd flutter out of your grasp, or worst case, you'd all get exorcised. I recommend you pour your energy into sealing him rather than killing him." Geto said towards the curse who was confused on why sealing Gojo. "Do you have some sort of lead?" He asked. "We'll use a special grade cursed object, Prison Realm." "Prison Realm?" "Table 5 hasn't ordered anything at all. Someone go hurry him up. He's taking up that whole table to himself." The manger says with employee who rushes towards the manager, "Sorry boss, but I quit." He said this as he bows and runs out of the cafe. This got the manger to be confused and shouted for the now former employee. "Jogo, you have that detestable thing?" The curse said with the volcano on his head erupts. "Our AC is running, isn't it? Jogo, don't get too excited. You'll make it hot in here." Geto said to the now named Jogo at the time. The manager approaches the table. "Sir, have you decided on your order?" But those were his last words as. Suddenly, the manager of the cafe bursts into flames. Screams were echoed throughout the restaurant. "I wish you wouldn't cause too much commotion," Geto says Tai with sigh that escaped from his mouth. "This is hardly anything." He said this as he waves his finger as more people start to burst into flames. "Geto, I'm glad we didn't choose an expensive restaurant." The waitress runs towards the exit only to trip. "Jogo, Geto, how strong am I in terms of Sukuna's fingers?" Geto, at a low estimate, I'd say 8 or 9 fingers. "Jogo, that's plenty." Give me the prison realm. I'll add it to my collection. In return I will kill Satoru Gojo. Waitress, help. The waitress bursts into flames as her screams weren't heard as only her corpse was seen and then turned to ash. The sun continues to shine on Tokyo Prefectural Jujutsu High School as we see Fushiguro and Nobara seated on the steps of the building behind them. Nobara, live a long life? Doesn't mean much when you go and die yourself. Is this your first time having a partner die? Fushiguro, first time for one my age. Nobara, you seem to be taking it well, considering. Fushiguro, same to you. Nobara, of course. I only knew him for about 2 weeks. I'm not some simple woman who breaks down bawling when a guy I barely know dies. Geez. Even though she said that, Fushiguro stares at her side as he sees her lips quiver. He sighed a bit as he stares at the ground. It's hot, huh? He asked with Nobara nodding her head. Yeah. Wonder if it's time for summer uniforms. Just then footsteps can be heard approaching closer to the building. What's this? You're looking more glum than usual, Megumi. This awake or something? Someone says to Fushiguro who looked towards the person. Fushiguro, Zen-senpai. The person only narrowed their eyes at that. Don't call me by my last name. Maki. Maki. Maki, I'm talking here. Why you don't actually know why they're so down? Maki, what are you talking about? Someone really did die yesterday? One of the first-year boys. 2. Benito Flakes. The woman now named Maki stiffly turns back to her fellow classmates with a less than happy expression on her face. Maki, you should have told me sooner. Now I look like some heartless, cold-blooded demon. That's exactly how you came off. 2. Tuna and mayo. Maki, you're supposed to try and make me feel better. Nobara was confused on who were they with Fushiguro giving her an introduction. There are second-year upperclassmen. You have to be kinder to your underclassmen. Maki, there's more to kindness than being soft on them. Fushiguro, Zenin-senpai is the best of all students at wielding cursed tools. 2. Salmon roe. Fushiguro, that's the curse speech user, Inamaki-senpai. He can only speak in ingredients of rice ball. She's a bit softer when Yuta's around though. Fushiguro, Panda-senpai. There's one more, Okatsu-senpai, who's the one I can openly respect, but he's overseas right now. Nobara, you're not adding more about the panda named Panda? Fushiguro, anyway, what is it that you guys want? Fushiguro says, ignoring the question that Nobara just gave. Panda, we came to ask you for help. Fushiguro, huh? Panda, man, sorry about this, and when you're in mourning, please forgive us for that. The truth is, we'd like you to participate in the Kyoto Sister School Exchange event. Nobara, Kyoto Sister School Exchange event? What's that? Fushiguro, it's a get-together with the other tech school in Kyoto, though isn't that event mainly second and third years? Maki, and those stupid third years are suspended right now, so you need to participate. Nobara, what do you even do at this event? Smash Brothers? I won't lose if it's the Wii version. I'll meteor smash so you can't come back. Fushiguro, the principals of Tokyo and Kyoto each propose a form of competition to be held for an entire day over the course of 2 days. Though that's how it is on paper. Panda, every year, the first day is team battles, and the second day is individual battles. Toj, salmon. Nobara, individual and team battles? We fight against other jujitsu sorcerers. Maki, yeah. It's a jujitsu battle, where everything but killing goes. Panda, we'll train you up well so you won't get killed. Panda starts punching the air. Yeah. Nobara, wait, do you have time for that? I thought we were short on jujitsu sorcerers. Panda, that's a good question, for now we are. The glum emotions people harbor from late winter through spring cause an outburst of curses. In the early summer, so that's our busy season. Maki, sometimes we're busy all year long, but things should be settling down soon. Nobara, Maki, so you'll do it, right? You just had a partner die on you, after all. Fushiguro and Nobara, we're in. As they said that, they both thought about Izuku with their hands clenched. I have to get stronger for his sake, I'll do anything to achieve that. They both thought with their resolve intact. Nobara, But if I decide this training and this exchange event is pointless, I'm quitting instantly. Fushiguro, same here. Panda, well, people this cocky are the more worthwhile to train. Toj, Benito flakes. Meanwhile, we turn our attention to a certain high school, Yudata High, and the classroom that harbored the first years of Class 1A, the students in silence from the events that unfolded during the USJ. Man, that was terrifying. First that bird monster, then that guy fighting All Might. One of the students said, "Tell me about it, the bloodlust on that guy was insane." Another said, "I'm confused. What happened?" One of the students who wasn't able to handle much of his quirk asked, with another wondering as well. "Oh, it was crazy, that bird thing was going to kill Mr. Aizawa, but then these two people crashed from the sky, and one of them straight up decimated that bird villain." "No way." "Yeah, and the crazier part, the guy who took him down looked exactly like Yagi, and if you don't believe me, ask Mineta, he saw the whole thing." Most of the males in Class 1A turned their attention to Mineta, who couldn't help but shiver. "Please, don't remind me that it's bad enough I was almost red-paced," he said as his jaw begins to chatter as an image of Sukuna appears behind him. "So scary." The girls in Class 1A wondered where Mizuki was and if she was okay. We pan away from the classroom to All Might's office with Mizuki had her eyes widen as she was told. "So, Izuku is dead?" Mizuki asked with saddened look on her face. "I'm afraid so, we got confirmation from the morgue this afternoon." She didn't say anything but letting tears to drip down from her face as the memory of that time replayed over and over. "Mizuki, being a hero isn't an easy job, it's a path of hardship and sometimes regret. Sometimes you aren't able to save everyone, even I failed to save people and even to those who were close to me," he said as his mind went through a time where the love of his life left because of his role. And he said, "TJ time, I know you wanted to bring Izuku home, to fix the mistake that I made, but I don't want you to feel like it's too much for you." He said, but what he got from Mizuki surprised him. "No, it's fine, I knew from the start that this path wouldn't be easy. Saving everyone is impossible, but that doesn't mean I'm going to give up." She says while clenching her fist, "I may have failed to save him, but that won't mean I will fail to save others. I know what I'm saying doesn't make sense. But I want to make sure that others don't have to feel the same loss. I'll be a hero that saves everyone, with a smile on my face," she says, which got Tashinori to give her a smile of reassurance. Right now, we find Gojo waiting at a grand white gate. "So, you ready, Izuku?" As Gojo says that, Izuku was seen walking towards him with a serious look on his face. "Yeah, I'm ready, Gojo-sensei." "All right then, what are we waiting for, let's go." As he said that, both him and Izuku left as Izuku's training officially begins. "You better grit your teeth, brat. I'm well prepared to face any sort of torture you're gonna put me through." Ryaman. Creator's thoughts. The Disgraced One, The Disgraced One. Have some idea about my story? Comment it and let me know. Creation is hard, cheer me up. Vote for me. Comment. One comment. Vote. Chapter 10. Chapter 10, Watching Movies. In a small-looking apartment, we see Fushiguro standing in front of a woman, this woman being the mother of Okazaki Tadashi. "By the time we arrived on the scene, your son was already dead." As Fushiguro said that, the mother was shocked at the news. "To be honest, I was skeptical about saving any of the people in there, but my friend was different. He wasn't successful, but he tried to bring your son's body back for you after we confirmed his death. He then pulls something inside a plastic-sealed bag. Take this, at least." He hands the bag to the women. "I'm sorry we weren't able to save Tadashi," Fushiguro said as he bows to the women. "It's all right. Don't apologize. I'm the only one who will mourn his passing anyway," Mrs. Tadashi said as she breaks down in tears on the floor. We then return to the track field at Jujutsu High, where Nobara and Panda were racing each other across the field. That was when Fushiguro arrived. "You're late, Megumi," Maki said. "Kelp," Toj respond. "What we're doing that took you so long to get here? What does that matter?" This just made Maki to sigh and saying to forget about it. That was until Fushiguro decided to ask Maki something. "What kinds of people do you want to save as a jujitsu sorcerer?" This got Maki confused but still answered Megumi's question. It's not like I care if my actions save anyone. As she finished that all Megumi could was sigh, I shouldn't have asked. That little remark got Maki riled up, but before she could even make an attempt to attack. Fushiguro! He heard his name being called as he saw Nobara being swirled around. Quit asking interview prep questions. SWH with me. I'm sick of these school uniforms. Let me go buy some cute tracksuits. She says out loud, having enough, while Panda decided to do something. Here we go. He says as he then throws Nobara up in the air, which made her scream out. This got Megumi to be confused on what on earth they were doing. What are those two doing? Panda answered, saying it's falling practice. Mustard leaf. Toge said. You're both weak in close quarters after all. Panda spoke with Maku simply folding her arms. So first, land a blow on us. We'll talk after that. Megumi sighed but also nodded his head. Looks like I have no choice. Let the hell commence. Meanwhile, inside of a secret room we see both Gojo and Izuku. You're a head above the rest when it comes to close combat, Izuku. So what you need to learn right now is how to control your cursed energy, as well as the bare minimum of jujitsu knowledge. Izuku nods his head whole, having a serious look on his face which caught the eyes of Gojo. What's the matter? As Gojo asked, Izuku's serious expression was gone. Oh, it's just I figured you'd be the best person to train me, so I'm looking forward to it, and the fact is that I'm weak and I couldn't save anybody. Worse, I nearly killed Fushiguro and my friends. As I am now, I won't be able to face them. I want to become strong, so please, teach me to be the strongest. What a load of bull I hear, and here I thought we had some sort of connection. We'll deal with our own training later, Ryomen. Gojo smiles at this. You've got a keen eye? All right then, first, take a look at those soda cans over there. As Izuku heard that, he turns his attention towards the fans that begun to get crushed in different ways. This is with cursed energy, and this is with a cursed technique. Izuku paid close attention. Is it somehow like the cursed energy is electricity and cursed techniques is appliances? Izuku asked, with Gojo giving him a thumbs up. You are correct. Electricity by itself is hard to use, right? That's why we run electricity through appliances to achieve various results. With one of those cans, fired off pure cursed energy. With the other can, I channeled cursed energy into a cursed technique to activate it and twist the can with jujitsu. So what exactly are we gonna do? Am I gonna be learning a cursed technique? No, you can't use cursed techniques. As he heard that, he just nods his head as if he understood, which he does. It's because it's not within me since the day I was born, right? Right again, you're on fire. Setting aside shikigami and barriers, cursed techniques are fundamentally etched into your body from the day you're born. So the power of a jujitsu sorcerer is roughly 80% innate talent. Izuku sighed a bit, but what does he expect, even though he saw the curses on his daily before getting involved with them and eating one of Sukuna's fingers? It kinda made him wonder why exactly did his parents had any involved with jujitsu. No, that wouldn't be the case. He thought as he sat on the ground with a thinking pose. Gojo, you okay? Izuku, yet it's just that I have a long way to go if I even have a cursed technique, or rather train myself to obtain itis. Oh, in the meantime, I'll just do what I'm capable of and see where that waves takes me. Gojo simply smiled. But it's the fact you can't use them yet. Eventually Sukuna's cursed techniques will be engraved into your body. Alright, since you said you wanted to train what you can do, we're going to enhance your strengths. We'll get you to imbue your fighting style with cursed energy. I'm way more scared of someone who can force their way through with the basics than I am of inferior jujitsu. Izuku, Gojo, like I just said, your talent for close combat is top-notch. Yet I think I got the hang of it when I faced that special grade. Gojo, then give it a try. When Izuku heard that, Gojo simply raises his hand. Hit me here. Not that you actually can. All Izuku did was shrug his shoulders and readies his fist and punches Gojo's hand. The results? That didn't have any cursed energy behind it. That made Izuku wonder why was that the case. Okay, then what's the reason on why there wasn't any cursed energy this time? Negative emotions are the source of cursed energy. In the incident you're referring to, you were probably brimming with anger and fear. And because of that you have to be constantly flipping out to use cursed energy? Now that you mention it, Fushiguro's always a bit snappy. As that was said, both Izuku and Gojo had an image of Chibi Fushiguro appears in their minds. Fushiguro, Gyokuken. Gojo simply waved off the cloud above them, not like that. On the other side, Fushiguro senses something. Maki, what's the matter? Fushiguro, I just got really irritated. Maki, huh? Fushiguro, no, not at you. Maki, there's only a month and a half until the exchange event, so no dawdling. Here, you can try the long one next. She tosses to him a bow staff. Fushiguro, this actually feels pretty good. We cut back to Gojo. Everyone's trained to produce cursed energy using the faintest sparks or emotion. They've also trained on how to not waste cursed energy when emotions are flaring too. There are several methods to train this. I'll be having you use a pretty exhausting one. This got Izuku curious, and what will that be? With Sukuna being intrigued about this method as well. Gojo simply pulls out a bunch of movies out of his pockets? Izuku and Sukuna were both confused until Gojo said that Izuku will be watching movies. What the actual F? I'm gonna be watching movies? Izuku said in confusion with Gojo simply nodding his head. That's right, everything from masterpieces to C-grade horror films to terrible French movies. You'll be watching them non-stop, as long as you're awake. Of course, you won't just be watching them. He can't be serious about this. It looks like he is. Gojo then pulls out a doll. You'll be watching them with his guy. Right now Sukuna was having a crisis on what he was seeing through the boy's eyes. What the ever-living dash. Izuku had to ignore the many curses that spewed out of the King of Curses as he had to focus on what Gojo told him what he had to do. And what's the deal with that? Izuku said while pointing at the doll. It's a cursed corpse the principal made. When Gojo said that, Izuku could only nod his head while fiddling with the doll, shaking it as well as holding his arms, and, I don't understand what you're getting at here. Don't be hasty now. You'll see soon. As soon as Gojo said that the bubble on the corpse pops and sucker punches Izuku. Keyword for this. Tries to sucker punch Izuku with the boy blocking the punch and slamming the cursed doll on the ground while having an annoyed look on his face. That cursed corpse will wake up and attack you, just like that, if you don't keep pouring a set amount of cursed energy into it. Yeah, I kind of guessed, Izuku said while still glaring at the cursed doll that got up and jing into a fighting pose for a few seconds and then went to sleep, causing Izuku to sweat drop. Like I said, we have all kinds of movies available here. Heartthrobbers, thrillers, exciting ones that will make you cry, laugh, or feel disgusted. Your first goal is to watch an entire movie, from start to finish without waking the cursed corpse. This trains you to make a steady output of cursed energy, no matter what emotions you feel. You can't use too much or too little. He then picks up the corpse and starts flowing cursed energy into it. I have it set to the faint level of cursed energy you can produce right now, but it'll steadily start demanding greater output, so don't let your guard down. Izuku simply sighed, but his eyes were set on something that intrigued him. With Sukuna on the other hand. Dear curse of the Demed, one was enough. Izuku just I twitched bit. Calm down a bit. I couldn't even let it down even if I wanted to, but by the way Gojo-sensei. This got Gojo to look at his direction with Izuku pointing at something. Who's that little girl that's been standing behind you? As Izuku said that, Gojo simply looked down as the little girl tried to be smaller, which got Gojo to chuckle as he lifted her up into his arms. This little one, that she's my daughter. Say what? That's all Izuku, while Sukuna was foaming from the mouth until Gojo just laughed a bit. Relax, I'm only kidding, her name is Eri. Just Eri? What about her last name? When Izuku that, Eri herself shaked a bit with Gojo calming her down. The details of her real family are unknown even to us. We found her running away from something one day and decided to take her with us. Wow. Talk about not caring about authority. That's literally kidnapping, Izuku said it with a blank look. True, but she didn't really want to let go of me since I was the one who, in her own words, saved her from the bad people, so I decided to let her stay with me or Shoko and help her as best as we can. As Gojo finished what he said, Izuku couldn't help but feel touched from Gojo's words as he went and approached the little girl. Hi Eri, my name's Izuku, it's nice to meet you. As Izuku said that, Eri placed her head on Gojo's shoulders with the latter simply patting her head. Huh? Sorry about that Izuku, she's not screwed of you, it's just that she's a bit shy around new people, so don't worry, I'm sure she'll come around. Izuku nodded, not that upset. Kid don't believe what he said, that girl is definitely his daughter. What makes you say that? A hunch. The F dash. Izuku just sighed while giving his attention to Gojo. Now, back at picking the movie, what do you want to start with? Gojo said while he picks up a DVD case. I recommend this one. The heroine's annoying, but she dies spectacularly in the end. And for that you just spoiled the movie for me. Oh. What about we start off with an action dash? But before he could finish, the cursed corpse wakes up and tries punch Izuku, who caught the fist in time with growl and throws the corpse on the ground. Hey, even if you're irritated, keep the cursed energy steady. Gojo said with Izuku sighing and understanding, but he doesn't want to get punched. Don't worry Mr. Izuku. Izuku heard this while he stared ahead and looked at Eri. I know you can do it. She says while patting Izuku on the knees, which got him to be at her level with a smile on his face. Thanks little one, Izuku said, which resulted in him getting promptly punched in the face by the cursed corpse. Right now we see Fushiguro and the rest of the gang. Carrying cursed tools, huh? I agree with supplementing my close combat with weapons, but with my curse technique, I want to be able to free up both hands at any time. With swords, you lose time sheathing them. Zen-senpai, you often carry more than 2 around with you, right? How do you do that? Fushiguro asked Maki, who simply shrugged her shoulders. Simple. I make Panda carry them. She says in a dramatic way with Panda, who was seen getting up and flexing. Fushiguro mentally had a blank look on his face. I shouldn't have asked. Part 2, Fushiguro thought. Some sorcerers keep cursed spirits that can store and retrieve objects. Panda stated. He can't do that. It's a rare thing and it takes time to tame them, as well, but if you find any, let me know. Maki said. A year's supply of Kalpa. Panda said. Meanwhile, Fushiguro thinks about the words Sukuna said to him. I don't get it though. Why did you run back then? What a waste of talent. Fushiguro could only be confused. I have the potential to beat special grades? Is that what he meant by that? He thought as he touches the ground and his fingers start to seep into the ground. Toge points at this. Tuna. Maki, huh? What? Fushiguro, senpai. I think I can do it. Not all the group was with Fushiguro as we see Nobara standing around at the shopping district. Nobara? Urahara? Where's Urahara? Underground. We cut back to Izuku laying on the couch as he was watching a movie in order to control his cursed energy flow. Do I cut the red wire or the blue wire? 2. You know, in the area where I used to live, the designated trash bags. Hey, what are you going on about right now? 2. Were red for plastic trash and blue for combustible trash. I always thought, shouldn't it be the opposite? It should be red. Anyone would go with red. I'll trust you. Izuku was busy drinking his soda can intensely as the scene plays out. Unfortunately for him, he was promptly punched in the face by the cursed corpse, but Izuku caught it at the last minute. Don't do that while I'm drinking soda. Izuku said while Eri was sitting next to him, watching the movie while having her own drink and snack to enjoy. That what kind of movie is this? It's not about understanding them, Ivy, but to enjoy it, Ryaman. Well, this is just stupid, but remember we still need to train. Tell me when your little marathon is over so that I can torture you. Sukuna said as he cut off the communication link between the two. That was when Gojo decided to join in. Don't drink it, then. Gojo said when he saw the interaction between Izuku and the cursed doll. But you gotta have chips and soda when watching movies at home. Look at Eri, she's doing the same thing, so you can't deny it. Izuku said while pointing at Eri, who was still fixated what was on the screen. Gojo couldn't help but nod his head. That's true. He said as he walks towards Izuku to get the boy's attention while still focusing on his cursed energy. Alright then, I have some business to deal with, so just keeping hanging in there. Gojo said with Izuku nodding his head, but he did in fact had a question. Will this really make me stronger? He asked Gojo, who just laughed. If Eri can get string, then so can you. When Izuku heard that, his eyes traveled to the young girl who was now focusing on Gojo, who just patted her head. Eri herself did the same training you're doing now, and because of that, her cursed energy rose significantly. Gojo finished with Izuku being amazed. Wow, that's amazing. Wait, that means that I'm weaker than her? Izuku said with downcast look, and this was Owen. He heard laughter. Ha 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 ha. Oh man, oh curse of the damned, you really are pathetic for a host. Ha 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 ha. Sukuna said as he was seen laughing on his throne with tears pouring out from his eyes, with Izuku sighing internally with Eri just rubbing his head. You can be stronger, I believe in you. Eri said this to encourage the young man, who laughed, but that caused the cursed corpse to send a punch his way, but Izuku stopped it. Gojo then starts walking away. Oh right. Did you talk with Sukuna while you were dead? Gojo asked. Izuku Sho was busy avoiding the punches as much as he can, with Eri cheering the boy on. Izuku then looked at Gojo. Talk? When he fixed your heart, did he propose any conditions or contracts? Gojo asked, with Izuku had a thinking pose. Hada. I think we did talk about something. But I can't remember what it was. Izuku finished, but in fact he does know it, it's just that he doesn't want to say, for reasons. I see, Gojo said as he waved goodbye to Eri and Izuku. Izuku couldn't help but feel a bit uncomfortable to lie to his teacher, but he wanted to do this on his own. Until he was ready to say everything. Hey Sukuna, how about you tell more of your technique while I also focus on increasing my cursed energy, Izuku said towards Sukuna. Whi simply chuckled. Get ready for a ton of history, ya brat. We then turn our attention to Gojo and Ijichi driving a car to meet with Principal Yaga. We have a bit of time before your appointment with the principal. Did you want to stop anywhere? Ijichi asked Gojo. No, it's fine. I'll show up early for a change, but there is something I would like you to do, Ijichi. Gojo said towards Ijichi, who wondered on what Gojo wanted. I want you to look for anything on Izuku. Ijichi? Huh? What brought this on? Gojo, just wanted to check something. Ijichi, anything specifically? Gojo, family relations, or more or less who his blood parents are besides Inko Midoriya. I just want to know, that's all. Gojo finished as he continues to stare outside the window, but stops his smile. Stop the car. Ijichi? Huh? Right here? The car stops and Gojo exits it. Go on ahead, Gojo said, which got Ijichi confused. Ijichi? Huh? Are you testing me? You're not going to hit me if I actually go on ahead, are you? Gojo, just what do you think I am? Ijichi, in that case. He drives off, leaving Gojo behind. He simply stares at the road, calm and collected. All right then, now. As soon as Gojo said that, from above, a fiercening screech was heard, as the curse known as Jogo attacks Gojo. Gojo simply jumps out of the way effortlessly. Who are you? Gojo simply said. Meanwhile, we see Izuku inside his subconscious as both him and Ryaman were seen fighting each other. Come on. Put your back into it. Sukuna yelled out as Izuku ducked down to avoid a fist that was close to his midsection and did a quick punch to Sukuna's gut that pushed him back. Sukuna chuckled as he saw a slight glow from Izuku's hand that almost changed in color as he felt the impact from his gut. Interesting, not only do you want to learn my curse technique, but you're close to using that attack, Izuku Midoriya. Just what are you that's making me so incredibly intrigued?